for the season. Aroldis Chapman his 27th save. Sox have the second wild card as we enter September. They're a half game behind the Yankees. Still just 3.5 back of the Blue Jays in the division. Brian Bayo to the bump against the Guardians at Fenway today. Your first pitch, 135. Elsewhere in MLB, Yankees lost 3-2 to the White Sox, but Aaron Judge hit career home run number 358, tying Yogi Berra for 5th all-time in Yankees history. Also, old friend, I don't know if you can call him that, Walker Buehler picked up by the Philadelphia Phillies off waivers. College football last night, Miami and Notre Dame. Miami survives a late comeback by the Fighting Irish to take it 27-24. At the U.S. Open, Novak Djokovic, Carlos Alcaraz, 4-seed American Taylor Fritz all head to the quarterfinals on the men's side. On the women's slate, top seed Arina Sabalenka and American Jessica Pegula. She's related to the Bills. She's headed to the quarterfinals as well. Some notable names in action today. Men's top seed Yannick Sinner, as well as Iga Swiatek. Coco Gauff will play Naomi Osaka as well. And down in Norton, Massachusetts, the FM championship goes to rookie Miranda Wong. She got a one-shot victory for her first LPGA Tour win. Your headlines brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured, not only from one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit catcheslaw.com. I'm Sean Sylver, Boston's Over Sports, 98.5 The Sports. Up next update, 6:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
They love the show. In fact, they said, Fred, you're the best.
And Hardy.
Who's Taylor the originator?
On 98.5.
Hello.
Hey there.
Aloha.
Bonjour.
How are we doing?
What? I'm an animal.
Can we use this for the radio? No, Nick, with your drinking at noon on Mondays.
Well, I tell her the truth, I miss booty.
That problem is too large for the starch.
You know how I feel about clowns on morning shows?
And I'm just saying, hello.
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back
25 glasses of soda.
having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. 98.5 The Sports Hub on a Labor Day, Monday morning.
Smelly.
I need a quick to accompany the smelly there. Among the various ad-libs that we could have heard right there, Ryan Garvin playing one near and dear to our hearts. Sean Sylver here on a Labor Day alongside Paul Perillo, Patriots.com. Paul, I was thinking about this. I've been at this station a long time. I've worked with a lot of people. But you and I have not been paired since, I don't know, Ryan Garvin, do you want to actually, I emailed about this, so you already know.
I do.
The last time that Paul and I worked together.
Pretend I remember what it said in the email.
As a tandem. It was oh wow, I just got a little, did I get a jolt there?
You shock yourself?
When I touched I don't know. Trying to verify it by touching the knob
been some
again.
electrical issues in this building in the last week or so.
Yes. A fire at the station.
Yeah.
This knob tastes funny.
How does it smell?
Smelly.
I bet it does.
Last time we worked together was, I think it was Martin Luther King weekend of 2024, which was notable, I think, for being the weekend that Bill Belichick was out and Gerard Mayo was named the HC of the New England Patriots.
All right. So it was actually big time. It's not like we were. It's not like today where we're both wondering about our life choices.
Who knows what could happen today? We may be reporting on something
on a Labor Day Monday. I thought you were going to say,
big.
well, the last time we were together was Memorial Day.
No, that was I still recall the news dropping. I had my Sports Hub app going while I was at the playground with my daughter, and in January, and the news came out that Gerard Mayo was coming in. It doesn't seem like when you're a fill-in host like me, you can go 6 months, a year, who knows between working with a certain person. It doesn't seem like all that long ago that was a thing, and yet
so much has happened and so much has changed.
Happened.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, the Mayo era is not that long ago, but it seems like more than whatever it is, a year and a half. It seems like a lot longer than that.
It was quick, and Ryan, it was smelly, right?
Smelly.
It was very smelly.
It was unfortunate. But I'm excited to talk some Pats this morning with Paul. Of course, we will leverage that, the decades of experience, the Patriots.com pedigree, the Patriots Unfiltered podcast, to which I am a frequent listener as a Patriots podcast, one of my Patriots podcasts of choice. Apparently, you can watch it on TV as well. So I mean, all different mediums covered.
Yeah, it's a different version. The TV version. That's a little bit of a different. Whole different attitude for us, but we do a lot of stuff over there. We have some fun. We obviously don't take ourselves too seriously, but it's fun to do those shows.
Are you guys in a dispute with YouTube TV right now too? Do I gotta wait until the 11th hour before I get this Patriots show?
Lord. Yeah, no, it's so the thing I like about it is we get to sort of come at things from different perspectives. It's not all. It's not all fun and games. It's not all Patriots all the time. Sometimes we drift off into nonsensical land, which I find those the most enjoyable.
Spoiler alert! I think we're gonna have some of that time this morning.
All right, I'm here for it.
I mean, that's what you do with 4 hours on Labor Day. Ryan Garvin behind the glass.
I honor the holiday by laboring.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I show my appreciation.
Get that Labor Day bag. Oh gosh, here we go. Good job, Sean. I was going to pivot into. Oh yeah, you were talking about how you get the visual medium on the podcast when you're on video. The what are they called? The nor'easter, the storm uniforms that came out. We had a lengthy segment on the unis. I forget. Were you?
I had a hoodie on
for these. Yeah,
I had.
Look at that.
We got some sideline apparel that we got a chance to sort of show all the listeners and the viewers.
You were modeling.
I was absolutely.
Don't be modest about it, Paul.
Let's add another. Yeah, let's add another skill set to the resume.
Camera ready.
But so that's the and I was starting to say. The thing that's a little bit different, generally around here, obviously the Sports Hub is a bigger scope of listeners and whatnot than what we're used to on Patriots.com. But the difference for Patriots.com is it's worldwide, and it truly is worldwide. We have people calling and listening, from all over. So for those people, for a lot of those people, we're their only connection to the team.
Yeah.
So. Those when we the uniforms and all the stuff people like the hoodies a lot. There was like a long sleeve tee that people were sort of interested in, but
good long sleeve tee this time of year.
But what the drawback for the whole thing is we did not get to keep the merchandise.
No.
Yeah. How about a little something for the effort?
Yeah. Hey Llama.
Yeah.
I was thinking along the same lines there. I was like, Paul,
so what do you think of the unis?
Had this stuff.
I find it fascinating with uniform talk.
Yeah.
Because it's so polarizing. And I just don't understand why.
It is. And,
if you like it and I don't, who cares? It's totally subjective.
It's going to be what it's going to be. It's, and I'm a big basketball head. I'm not like the kind of person who collects jerseys or anything like that. I mean, I have a few jerseys. And this is probably a good Labor Day topic, too, is, when is it appropriate to wear... where somebody's name.
Talk about another polarizing topic there that I just don't understand. If you like to wear a jersey, wear a jersey.
Yeah, wear a jersey.
I know a lot of people, sort of frown upon that for adults. I would kind of fall into that category.
Yeah,
but
there's some people in my life who probably would appreciate me toning that down. I think
you wear a lot of jerseys.
Well, I did. I think maybe my wife, when we started dating, there might have been some recommendations about my wardrobe.
It's kind of like my softball career.
Yeah.
How much longer are you going to be doing this? Well, it's probably going to be my last year, I guess, hon. I haven't played since.
saw a news story that I forget where I was looking last night. Something popped up. There's a guy down in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, and he has a wiffle ball field in his backyard.
Oh, nice.
And I guess he's been doing this league for like 20 years. And he decided to like retire it. You know, he's just making a lifestyle choice. It's like once you've got and it was very involved. Once you've got like this beautiful wiffle ball field,
it's like a little Fenway, I assume.
Yeah, like what are you gonna? You're just gonna let the weeds grow in the base paths? So were we like reseeding here? We're putting down some sod. Like, how do you make that go away? He'll be back.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it'll take.
Guarantee that guy will be back. Just like the softball field, it's always calling to you.
Oh, it's been a while.
Yeah.
No more calls.
No
more calls.
See, my thing is that I played hoops in men's leagues probably up until my kids started to be born. So this is 7 years ago now that I kind of was like, all right, I'm going to be busy this spring. You know, I'll take a little time off from the men's league. I was in my mid-30s then. You know, so now as a man approaching his mid-40s, it's kind of like, do I really want to? Because I feel like I have the same conversation with people around town. But did you see what happened to Jim down at the men's league? Yeah. He ripped up his ACL,
MCL, PCL.
It's always
like a cork popping off a bottle.
I got you beat.
It's like, do I want?
I got you beat.
What
in an over 40 league? Blew out the Achilles.
Achilles.
It's worse than the ACL, believe me.
Oh, didn't Maz do that too?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So you guys had a little.
I think he did it within
a
year that I did. His was even worse. It was like some media game, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were playing the Harlem Globetrotters or something, right? He was the Washington Generals.
You're trying to be a hardo and you're going too hard. You know?
I would have been.
So Curly was chasing Maz with that bucket full of confetti. And
the over 40 league, like the whole concept of the over 40 league just like irritates me because it's supposed to be, you know, low key. Mm-hmm. You know, you're getting out to run around a little bit. You still like to play. You like to shoot. I mean, you want to play zone and you want to let anybody take a three that wants to take a three, right? Mm-hmm. That's my idea of like over 40 basketball. Not necessarily looking for like in your face, man to man. Like I can't get the ball because the guy covering me is faster than I am.
You're not hand checking anybody.
Yeah, like you know, let's just jack up some threes and have some fun. But what happens with over 40 leagues is the average age of the league tends to skew younger and younger out of the 40s, and you end up with like late 20s kind of kids.
Get some ringers in there.
So that was kind of what ended up happening in our league. It was okay to start, and then I blew up my Achilles, but I didn't want to go out that way. You know, much like a lot of the greats, Sean. You don't want to go out on a bad injury. So I rehabbed, and I came back and I played another season.
Yeah.
And I feel like in the time that I didn't play, like that 1 year, it went from like the average age was like 40 down to like 25 in the league. And like off the opening tip one night, you're just like at the Y. I mean, we're not talking about like any high level of play. Opening tip. Guy tips it to one guy who just immediately catches it in one motion and throws it to a kid streaking down the lane and throws one down.
Oh.
I turned to my friend on the sideline and said, "This is my last game."
I quit.
This is my last game.
Dunking.
So this is formally an over 40 league?
This was an over 40 league, and there had to be at least 10 to 12 kids that couldn't have been 30.
Oh, brutal.
And I call them kids because they were kids. To me, they were kids.
Just another argument for me to stay off the court. Don't try. Don't get back into it.
Yeah, go. Why don't you bring up the pickleball? That seems to be what all the all of my age people do. I really should stay away from racket sports, though. The Achilles is, like the doctor says,
just the
tennis,
the quick,
racquetball,
quick movements, pivoting,
a lot of lunging.
Yeah,
should probably stay away from those. I have played a little pickleball, but
one of my best friends.
I don't do a lot of running when I do that.
One of my best friends, who's probably very sad because he's a University of Alabama graduate.
Oh, yeah.
So probably having a sad weekend. But a big pickleball guy. He's in all the tournaments and throughout Massachusetts. He's gone to some national stuff. So I went a couple of years ago. They had a pickleball set up over at Fenway Park.
Oh.
And it was, at Fenway Park, they're always rented out for, do your
open
event
for business,
deal, right? Yeah. But they had
take your bar mitzvah.
Pickleball courts all along all along the Green Monster, and it was kind of cool. And they had like a practice area set up in the concourse, and I'd never played. My buddy was like, "You'd be good at this," because I was a high school tennis player.
Oh,
it was
you
one of
should be really good.
It's one of the sports that I was, basketball, a long, lanky guy. Tennis was my other sport. So yeah, I got out there. I was like, "This is great. This is a lot of fun." Now I haven't done anything about it in the 2 to 3 years since, but I hear it's a real lifetime sport. I see some real geezers out there, so maybe I can work my way into it.
Yeah, I just stick with golf.
There we go.
Played 18 of the worst holes you'll ever see yesterday. Yeah. Looked like I never had a club in my hand. So Hardy, if you're listening, I'm filling in for Hardy today. So, Hardy's going to play with us next week. He's playing in a tournament with me and my crew. So I warned him last night. I said, just to let you know, the three of us played today. Looked like we never had a club in our hands before, so no pressure.
Does he want videos so we can do swing analysis?
Yeah, no, he played in this tournament with us a couple of years ago, so he knows pretty much what he's getting into. Okay. But I think he thought that I might be reasonably competent, not based on yesterday.
Oh, sorry, didn't see that text from you, Paul.
No, yeah, it was rough. It was a rough day. Although the weather was absolutely lovely. I will say that
it is lovely. I was talking to Ryan about this coming in, and it's Labor Day weekend. We'll get to plenty of sports, folks. In fact, you know, next segment we may even get to what happened last night.
I told you, it's game week too.
Yeah. We got a big game coming up here. But you know, spent my weekend on Long Island.
Oh, nice.
So the wife's one of her best friends from college lifelong best friends, lives down there with her husband, and I wound up in this. We go down every Labor Day weekend to see them, spend time with their family, our kids, their kids, you know, that sort of deal. I've wound up in a Long Island-based fantasy football league, so there was a highly competitive draft on one of the nights. But you know, they have a pool. The kids did not go in the pool once this weekend.
Oh yeah,
because it was like 70.
Yeah, it wasn't that warm.
You know, it was lovely. I kind of like this.
Yeah, I could use it a little warmer, but yeah, I mean, you can't complain about the weather we've had for a good stretch now. Like really, the whole month of August was pretty nice.
Get in your car 5 a.m. this morning. You know, it's like 49. It's like, oh, all right, this is not bad. I'm kind of looking forward to September. I'm looking forward to kids are going to start up flag football.
Oh,
for the 7-year-olds going to be playing flag football.
Got to get him in Beatles League. The commissioner.
Ah,
he runs whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, down yonder.
Yeah, I mean, what's he in Quincy, right?
Yeah. I bet you he drives a hard bargain.
He's like
there.
the fantasy czar. I mean, the flag czar.
The flag czar. Yeah, we got some folks like that in our town. Run a tight ship.
What are they teaching in the 7-year-old flag football? Because when I did youth football, they'd throw the helmets on us. They'd stack of pads and go find one that fits and put a penny on and just start running into each other. But with flag football, they're not able to tackle. I mean, it's just run, maybe catch a ball. Don't be afraid of the football, like stuff like that.
Yeah, kind of that, I feel like. And this will be his first year doing it.
Or we just try to tire the kids out by dinner time.
Probably a little bit of that, too. Apparently, this league, I think you could have done it as a kindergartner. And my son didn't express interest in football until week 1 last year when the Patriots defeated the Bengals. He was like, wow, you know, the NFL is great.
This Mayo guy's good. He's got something.
This team's going all the way, Dad.
Oh, man. No, there were multiple times last year where he's like, Dad, why are the Patriots so bad? And I'm just like, you know, son, when I was a 7-year-old, it was 1990. Do you want to come over to the computer with me here, and we'll look up the 1990 Patriots, you know, record and statistics?
Yeah.
And
I remember
this is nothing. You haven't seen bad football.
It's like, you know, it didn't really get it because I got him a Drew Bledsoe jersey. Speaking of jerseys, he wears a Drew Bledsoe jersey.
That's a quality purchase. I like that.
Found it on eBay for like $15-20. I was like, this is it. There you go. But let
me tell you about a quarterback named Mark Wilson.
The Tommy Hodson era.
You ain't lived until you watch Hugh Millen.
Yeah.
The Humilinator.
Humilinator. Oh, wow. I'd forgotten about that.
Oh, Houdini. Depends on which one you want to go with.
I mean, you know.
It's amazing. It's amazing the hype you can get in a 6-10 finish.
Yeah. He did his best with what he had.
Yeah, those were some lean years. That was my senior year of college, by the way. So I want to thank you for letting everybody know that you were 7 years old when I graduated college.
That's
1990.
right. There's a mere 14 or 15-year difference between us. It's it's nothing these days. Once you get to a certain age, that's nothing. But yeah, by the end of the year, Will had pivoted to being an Eagles fan.
Oh.
To which I said,
he's
son,
like my boss, Fred. Whoever happens to win the title is his favorite team.
Front runner.
I'm just kidding, Fred. I know you like the Patriots now. I know. Don't worry about it.
Oh, now he does after all the winning.
Oh, man. But, when I was 7 years old, I was a big Eagles fan, too, because, again, speaking of jerseys, I had this guy's jersey.
Randall Cunningham. Yeah, I could tell.
Randall Cunningham. So, yeah, my two favorite quarterbacks ever are Drew Bledsoe and Randall Cunningham. Notice I said Tom Brady because
you have to. You're contractually
obligated. Gotta lead with that one.
Obligated to that. No? Drew Bledsoe and Randall Cunningham made me love football for different reasons.
When they there was a combo when they hired Parcells and they drafted Drew. That's when I got season tickets.
Yeah.
So I can totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
wasn't after they went 1-15 with head coach Rod Rust?
I mean, they were 2-14.
Oh, that's an improvement.
When I got the season tickets, they were coming off a 2-14 season.
You were feeling optimistic then.
Yeah, well, they
were just getting them at a great price.
They hired Parcells and they drafted Bledsoe. I was like, this is it. They're gonna turn this around.
Staple my butt to one of those bleacher seats. This is gonna be a year. And it was. They made a nice little run that first year, and they made the playoffs next year. Wow. Well, we're not going to relive the 90s too much here. We're going to talk current day, present day New England Patriots as they gear up for Week 1. I want to get take Paul's temperature on the way of things around here. Allow for some personal insight into I don't know. We had cut down day. The rosters are set. We've had a flurry of little moves after that, so it's we haven't been lacking news on the Patriots as they approach Week 1. Of course, the Red Sox, not a great weekend, but they ended on a high note as well. We'll get into that in the What Happened Last Night segment. Also, college football, big slate. This was Week 1, right?
Yeah.
This was not Week 0.
Week 0 was the
Week 0 was last week.
Which I never understood that, but yeah.
I don't either.
But Week 1, in all seriousness, was a pretty impressive slate of games for college football. I mean, you had a number of quality matchups, and I think that we can thank the college football playoff for this. Teams are no longer afraid to Ohio State and Texas opening the season because that both teams know that losing that game doesn't eliminate you from the postseason.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I think that makes all these games all that much more interesting. And those matchups were great.
Yeah,
over the weekend.
If you're a college football buff, I'm sure you were in heaven. Historically, with 3 matchups between top 10 teams.
Yeah,
I mean mathematically, you can only do 5 matchups between top 10 teams, right? But with 3 matchups,
I did graduate from college in 1990, Sean. So I believe you are correct. That's the maximum amount of top 10 matchups you can have is 5.
You confident in your math after all that time?
Yeah, I think so. Think so.
Just a jerk comment to make. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin with us this morning as we get this thing rolling in for Toucher and Hardy on Labor Day morning. 617-779-0985. You want to jump on? We'll be back talking Sox and a little more college football after this.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Comment.
happened last night? Brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce, change your life with Dr. Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. I like that video that went viral a few years ago of the guy at the carving station.
I don't think I know it.
The little sounder there at the top of that, the guy going, "Did you catch the game last night?" It's like it was a training video from the 80s to kind of equip these carving station folks at this restaurant or whatever with the skills necessary to converse with patrons as they come up to get their sliced meats. So it was like, engage with the customer, And so the guy, he's sitting there at the carving station. He's like, "Hey, did you catch the game last night? Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. You're a kid. Do you like sports?
Can I just get my ham, please?
Yeah.
I just want to eat and go back to my table.
Just this. I'm not gonna insult the gentleman in the video, but just kind of this dumpy '80s guy, carving up meats. Oh, man.
I have my talking points while I'm cutting turkey for you.
There we go.
Says here, you may be a sports fan.
Yeah.
Do you like the sports?
Do you like the sports ball? Let's talk about it. Hey, let's talk about the Red Sox game yesterday. Sox were in danger of blowing this series here. They lost the series to the Pittsburgh Pirates, but thankfully Jaron Duran was in the house yesterday.
And that's a shot toward the alley. Carlos in to score, gets by the outfielders. Here comes Bregman, rounding third. It goes all the way to the triangle. Another run in. Here comes Duran. He's trying to score. He's going to score all the way around.
That'll wake this place up.
Yeah, that was the Jaron Duran, and you talked about this, the Pirates butchering this and.
Yeah, at the risk of being Tony Maz, can I point out the fact that that's an error, or is that not allowed?
Yeah, no. Oh, there's no rules here. Dave Parker, the Pirates right fielder, was not the newly minted in the Hall of Fame, the Cobra.
Right.
That was not a Dave Parker defensive sequence.
No, I mean I think that it probably didn't have to get up the gap in the first place, but he did smoke it. So it gets down in the gap. It goes by the outfielders, and then I think it's O'Neal Cruz trying to
a shortstop playing center field.
But he's trying to pick it up. It goes right through him, right. I think it went through his legs. I just don't understand how triple in an error, or it would just have to be yay, everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, not to bring up the '90s, but the Bill Buckner inside the park home run. Do you recall that?
I do.
I'm sure there was chicanery on the score sheet.
I mean, generally inside the park home runs involve that aren't sort of fielding related. Mm-hmm. It's just like a crazy bounce.
Yeah, but this one
it bounces directly away from everybody, and there's no one there to pick it up, and they have to chase it down. This one, to me, got by two fielders. I don't know.
Yeah, just the Pirates are gonna pirate. And as someone who's been to an MLB game for every home team, every team's
You've been
home
to
stadium.
Every stadium, huh?
I haven't been to every stadium because they've been building more.
Yeah, that's what happened to me in football.
Yeah, so
since I stopped traveling, there's a couple of new ones that I haven't been to.
Yeah, do you have any desire to go back to some of these cities? And
I wouldn't mind seeing the new Dallas one.
Yeah,
that's one of the ones I haven't seen.
Yeah, I saw that when I was in
WrestleMania.
No, I didn't go to. Oh man, yeah. What was it? One of the WrestleManias I was going to go to with the crew there, and it was the same week that my son was due, and it's a good thing that I stayed home from
That's probably a wise choice.
Probably a wise choice to see the birth of my first child. But no, I went for one of these stadium trips. I went down with some buddies. We went to Arlington to see a Rangers game. We went to Houston to see an Astros game, and I think in between we spent a day and night in Austin, just kind of enjoying the Austin vibe there. It was extreme hangovers that weekend. It was rough, but yeah, seeing that stadium on the horizon, just it's Texas, right? And just kind of rising out of the out of the land. I don't even know what you would like it to.
I've been to, like the old Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
I was at that, and I think I've been to every NFL city's, at least their original home.
Mm-hmm. See, that's an accomplishment. That takes something.
A lot of them I've been to, like for the Steelers. You're talking about Pittsburgh, back to the Pirates.
Yep.
I was at the old Three Rivers before they took that down, which was a dump. And then Heinz Field, where they play now, which is right next to, is it still PNC or do they have a new name for that?
I think it's still PNC.
Yeah,
but that's my top.
That's a beautiful place.
It's my top MLB park. And you think about
wasted on
the
such
product.
A terrible team.
When first time I went there, they were like, "Hey, it's a whatever night of the week. Hey, the Pirates stink, but we've got a free concert with fireworks at KC and the Sunshine Band afterwards."
Hey, I'm in.
Let's go.
I'm in.
And then right across the river. Oh, they were getting down tonight. Across the river, the Heinz Field. I've also been there. I have not been to Heinz Field for a game, but I was in town for like a wedding. So it was a weekend, and then the Sunday morning after the wedding, just seeing everybody streaming, or boating, taking the ferry across to the stadium was just cool seeing the city come alive with Steelers fans, which I could take or leave those people, but. Certainly a nice little downtown thing they have going there. But yeah, the Red Sox salvage the third game against the Pirates.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I know you were away for the weekend, so I don't know how closely you watched the three games. But the Friday night game, terrific theater. With the kid coming up and sort of matching schemes for a while. I mean, that was just one of those things. You faced an elite pitcher on the other side. You lose a tough game. Saturday's game, to me, is a head-scratcher. And I don't know how much of this you watch, but
I know
Dustin
enough
May
that Dustin
nothing.
May got his clock clean.
But he had nothing.
Yeah.
And in the fifth inning, the Red Sox are leading, I believe, 2-1 heading into that inning. There's a little infield squibber that, no one has a play on. Then he hits a guy. Then he walks a guy. Then he gives up a rocket down the right field line for 2 runs. Then he gives up a rocket to left center for another run. So there's like 3 runs in, no outs. No one warming up in the bullpen. No one doing anything. He somehow miraculously gets a chopper right to Bregman at third base for a double play, and he finds a way to get out of that inning. And Cora brings him back for the 6th, to which I believe O'Neill Cruz took him deep.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up giving up a couple more runs in the 6th inning. I just didn't really understand the mindset of what Cora was thinking going into that game. I didn't think that the bullpen was necessarily overly taxed. I mean, sure, you want to stay away from Whitlock and Chapman or whatever for whatever reason, but
you just got Slayton back, and we saw him yesterday.
I don't know why you would ride Dustin May that way. Maybe they were just trying to see where he is going to be. I mean, let's face it, this is a playoff team, so maybe you're trying to figure out exactly if he has a role. Come October, but it was just kind of odd to me the way that whole thing unfolded.
Yeah, I mean, he's not your. I don't think he's your number 4 starter for a playoff series, but then again, can't really come up with.
I mean, until I see otherwise, Peyton Toley's going to pitch the 4th game if I have a say.
But it's like the second consecutive game with Dustin May where he's throwing the ball and you're going, oh, wow, he has no idea where the ball's going to end up when it leaves his hand. The only thing I could think of, Paul, is normally the Red Sox have been off on Thursdays, and they had a Thursday game. It was their getaway day coming out of Baltimore.
Yep.
So at that point, it's like their 9th consecutive game, and they don't have an off day until this coming Thursday when the NFL season opens. But it might just be we're taxed right now. There's really only 2 or 3 guys in this bullpen that we know we can rely on and leverage situations. We don't want to throw guys out there that we don't need to. And by the way, Dustin May, in theory, is supposed to be the guy that's going to fill out the back end of this rotation. I'm not saying I agree with it.
Yeah,
but.
So my counter to that would have been, I completely understand that. I would have gone with that mentality the next day with Giolito on the mound, and I would have said maybe he doesn't – I mean, he ended up pitching fine on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I would have said maybe he doesn't have it, but I'm going to ride him a little bit longer today to try to give everybody a rest. They didn't need necessarily to use any of their guys. Like, I know that you're saying they're struggling. I don't care if it's Bernardino or Matt's, whoever.
Is Isaiah Campbell still on the roster? I know. I was going to say Maz went on like a 45-minute rant about Isaiah Campbell a couple weeks ago.
Why is he on the roster? No. But I just didn't really understand why it had to be him that chewed up those innings.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I agree with you. I think it's more of the idea of if there's a team right now that you want to get right against, it would be the Pittsburgh Pirates in this offense. And it's so frustrating when you're seeing guys like Tommy Pham is okay, Nick Gonzalez is okay, Andrew McCutchen, nice career. But man,
Reynolds, right?
Oh yeah, these are guys that
their name, but
you should be able to figure your crap out. And regardless of what level of pitcher you are in this bullpen, like this is not a team that should be tattooing you all over the park. But again, it's. I think 3 times we can officially go, we have a problem now with Dustin May. And it's the second game I've seen him play in a row where the ball comes out of his hand and you go, does he know where the ball's going right now? Because it does not come across that way.
Yeah. And he threw some really, really hanging sweepers. I was going to call it a curve, but hanging sweepers that didn't get hit.
Yeah,
in that
AAA guys would be able to hit that, which is exactly what that lineup is.
Yeah, Dustin May, obviously they gave up some prospect capital to bring him in here, which made a lot of people unhappy. I was trying to play it like because this Red Sox rotation, another great start for Giolito yesterday. Their front 3 is a combined 34 and 13 between Crochet, Bello, and Giolito. So I think you feel pretty good about that. Obviously, Crochet career high in innings pitched. Bello is headed that way. Necessarily because Bello's only been in the league a few times and Giolito missing last year. So you kind of wonder about the durability of these guys. I mean, May, to me, you feel bad about giving up the prospects, but you're like, okay, he's going to come in and eat innings, to time warp back to the 90s again. He is, I don't know, like a Kent Merker type of pickup at the deadline, or a Pete Schurig or something, like a classic Dan Duquette era guy. Just this guy's going to come in, he might pitch a quality start, he might get killed, but, we don't have a whole lot invested in him necessarily. It's, I think, the fact that the Red Sox, people expected the Red Sox to do more, even though a cost-controlled starting pitcher did not change hands at the deadline for anybody. But people expected the Red Sox to do more because of the Joe Ryan rumors, and you gave up prospect capital to get him. This guy, it's questionable. With Richard Fitz on the injured list, it's looking like Peyton Tolley time.
Obviously that's asking a lot of the kid. So we'll see how it unfolds, but I'm definitely willing to give him a handful more of starts just to see how it looks. And if you get something similar to what he gave you Friday night, I don't see how you back away from that.
Might be the
biggest bounce back would be really interesting because, again, no offense to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spent 20 minutes slamming, but you're getting Cleveland, and they're not having a great year, but they're Jose Ramirez, Steven Kwan, there's some good guys in that lineup.
Some guys who can hit you.
And if you want to know what you have in Peyton Tolley, this is the time to do it. I know when I was talking with McCarthy yesterday, we were talking about, does this remind you of anybody? And Clay Buchholz came out in 2007, and obviously physically they're like 2 completely different human beings. But the idea of a young up-and-coming pitcher,
as Tony would say, totally looks like he ate, but Clay Buchholz.
He did.
Pretty much.
But a guy coming up that's going to bolster the back end of this rotation. Now, unfortunately, Clay Buchholz got shut down with shoulder fatigue, something like that.
07?
Yeah, exactly.
After the no-hitter.
He didn't make the postseason roster.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think you're asking a lot of Peyton Tolley right now to, fill up the spot that you were hoping Dustin May would take. But as it stands right now, I think the kid is absolutely warranted, at least. I mean, you let him go back out there to face the Pirates, 4 to 5 innings against, Cleveland right now when you're so ahead of everybody else in the wild card. Seems like, well, hey,
five games.
Let's figure it out right now because this is the time of year where you can do that before you got to figure out, okay, 2 to 3 guys, game 1, game 2, game 3, who's going?
Yeah. I mean, Peyton Tolley and the Red Sox haven't had This has been one of my talking points. I don't know how long on this station because they haven't had a homegrown pitcher. I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez was acquired by trade and, actually turned into something for them. But you have to go back, I think, to I hated Clay Buchholz, but I would say John Lester.
Well, there's a lot of hype around Brian Bayo.
When's the last time that they,
Brian Bayo getting that start, it was like nonstop talk, and unfortunately did not live up to the hype. It's been a work in progress, and it kind of seems like he's figuring it out now. But
I agree, Ryan.
Compared to like what we were expecting, he's going to be like Pedro.
Baby Pedro.
Yeah. Okay, that's not at all what ended up happening.
But I remember his first start, and I thought of it just the way I did Friday night with Tolley.
Bayo's first
start, and I am no longer. I'm not Matt McCarthy. I'm not a 162 guy. I leave that to Milliken and McCarthy.
It's plenty covered there.
But I made sure I made sure I watched that Bayo start, and I got caught up the other night. I was out, but I got caught up the other night on Tolley. I wanted to see what all the hype was about, and you could see it with Bayo. He didn't pitch great, but you could see what people were talking about. The stuff was there.
Yeah, and same with Peyton Tolley, and we'll give him a few more looks. I mean, hey, if you can go 15+ years without developing, a really good starter and get Brian Bayo and Peyton Tolley as hits, I mean, Bayo's definitely looking like he's figured it out this year. That would be pretty good for the Boston Red Sox.
I think the Twins are going to regret not bringing him in. Moving on, they blew up the rest of their team.
Yeah,
move on from. You could have had Peyton Tolley. Again, one start. He could be a disaster going forward, but I know if I'm management over there going, oh my God, what were we thinking? We tanked the rest of our season, and we kept Joe Ryan for what?
Particularly
so
for
we
a
could not
Twins
have
team,
Peyton Tolley.
For a Twins team that's looking to, Joe Ryan's cost control for a couple more years. I mean, how much longer could you have Peyton Tolley at a cheap rate? So that's the kind of baseball that they're playing up there. All right, 617-779-0985. The clock is busted by our own design. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin hanging out with you on a Labor Day Monday morning. Let's get some Sports Hub headlines, and we'll talk about college football coming up next.
Sports Hub headlines, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, as mentioned, the Red Sox 5-2 over the Pirates yesterday. Jarren Duran with an inside-the-park homer in the fifth. That Got your friendly neighborhood Silver Fox, Sean Sylver, in with you. Paul Perillo, Patriots.com.
I see what you did there. I like that. I like it.
Paul likes it. Ryan Garvin producing this morning. I mean, I'd hesitate to call us a dream team, but if you've heard the first 54 minutes of this show, I'm sure that you're all in agreement.
So, award-winning stuff.
I feel like I haven't woken up yet. So, yeah, dream. There you go.
Yeah. You might be in a dream state. Hopefully, you all are enjoying your Labor Day weekend and, maybe enjoying the fruits of your labors and by taking the day off. There were some other games as we continue the what happened last night. I guess the Red Sox game was a what happened yesterday sort of thing. And, yeah, I was going to say all the commenters on YouTube, I'm sure, love us. You can follow 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. There is a live stream of this thing going on right now. But had a little college football last night to keep you company. I know that Paul was, pleasantly stapled to his couch on Saturday. And
it's a fun weekend.
I was able to spend some time, as we said, 3 matchups of top 10 teams, including last night's Notre Dame-Miami, the old Catholics versus the convicts matchup, with Miami very impressively holding off the Fighting Irish 27-24. We had an Odell Beckham-like crazy catch last night.
36 yards, 12 for 19 total. Under pressure, off his back foot, up for grabs, and caught! C.J. Daniels, a tremendous one-handed catch.
So there you go. C.J. Daniels of Miami pulls one in from Carson Beck to extend the lead for the Hurricanes as they get the victory last night. I watched some of it. I wasn't awake for the whole thing, admittedly. But, an entertaining game. And just week 0 is over. This was week 1. And what a strong week 1 for college football overall.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. And, I did see most of the first half of the game last night, and I saw little pieces here and there the third quarter. I was a little surprised when I woke up and saw that Notre Dame had actually come back and tied it.
Yeah, from the way things were looking.
I wanted to have Miami get down and kick a field goal to win. But, yeah, you mentioned the three marquee matchups of top 10 teams. It was a great way to get it started. And like I said earlier, I feel like this is – I think this is one of the really, really positive byproducts of having the college football playoff. I know a lot of purists don't like it because they say that the regular season loses meaning. I think it's added meaning because you get these kinds of matchups. But, Clemson and LSU playing on opening day, at Clemson too, not just a neutral site. Texas going to Ohio State, and obviously the game that we were just talking about. True road games, great environments in these college towns. And I don't think you would have gotten that if the loser of those games is really behind the 8 ball, for the rest of the season. Now, I mean, you saw Ohio State, lost, their games last year. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois last year and still was in the national title game. So what the playoff has done is sort of open things up for teams, I think, to get a little bit more aggressive with their scheduling. I like that the committee is really looking at that. They eliminated the automatic buys for conference winners, so strength of schedule is going to be really important. These teams are going to want to play these kinds of games. And, I mean, even like South Carolina, Virginia Tech, good solid matchup. Tennessee, Syracuse. These are games I don't think we would have gotten as many of in the past. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, no, I'm all for that. I mean, the stale kind of, we can only pick the teams that are undefeated or, the one-loss teams from the power conferences or who won their conference or that sort of mindset. Just, and what are conferences anymore?
Well,
it's just...
That's another argument. That's not a positive byproduct of all of this.
No, but either way, I think the viewer wins in the fact that you're getting the best possible matchups every weekend. If you can't have, conference rivalries, and that's part of it. College basketball went this way a long time because, that was really my thing, growing up just enjoying like Big East basketball. That's like the sports lament of the several decades since the Big East crumbled, and it's just wasn't. It could never mean what it once meant. All of these college football conferences, you had various rivalry games or whatever. I mean, what is a college football rivalry anymore when you're in the transfer portal era and players are just flying around like mosquitoes looking for the next bug zapper?
Yeah, it's the schools themselves might have some rivalries, but
sure.
Now how many of these guys? I was watching the Florida State Alabama game, which is a game we haven't even mentioned yet. That's another one. It was
Thomas Castellanos,
right? Like what I liked about that is you hear what he did in the summer in June, like calling out Alabama. They don't have Nick Saban to save them. I don't see them being able to. I don't believe
something like I don't see them stopping.
I don't
us.
see them being able to stop me. Stop me. And then he went out and backed it up.
Lived up to it.
So like to your point, like I don't know how much juice there is. Florida State, Alabama, but like the players are all. There was a running back for Florida State that played the last couple of years with Alabama. So like there's all of those kinds of like little mini dramas inside with the personnel because there's so much turnover in the portal every year. And again, it was a good start.
Yeah.
Now, can they build on that and keep it up? Because now you're going to get the cupcake cities coming, right?
Right.
The MAC teams will play all the Big Ten teams next week, and everybody will be winning, 58-3.
Well, locally here, Boston College
Speaking of
beat
Cupcake
Fordham
City,
66-10.
I really thought it was going to be Fordham's year too. I guess I'll have to wait till next year.
So a lot of those teams they'll play an FCS team, which I still call 1AA, which I'm not criticizing that, but like you couldn't find a better one than Fordham, and Fordham was like 2-10 last year. There's some quality 1AA programs that can at least give you a little bit of a pushback.
It does make you very grateful for how that opening slate went because there's just, you just look at the scores. Just look at the scores of the FBS side of it. The amount of like fly versus the windshield matchups. I just think it's just due to how many programs there are. Every team that had a number with, I guess, Boise State withstanding, and then what Castellanos and Florida State were able to do to Alabama. All those teams, it's like they're not even competitive games. Not a single one of those games you look at and go, oh wow, I really feel like I missed something compelling. Especially when you draw in comparison to the games that they had, nationally televised last night. If that's how they're going to start the season, good, because just like you guys said, oh my God, there's some horrendous programs. Now, look, I understand they're college athletes. You can't expect every single one of them to be sharp. I can expect some of them to be sharp. I can expect, maybe not 0 points across the board, maybe something competitive. I don't need 52-3 to watch Illinois blow out some random team or anything like that.
Yeah, there were some bad games on, and again, doing this fantasy draft in a sports bar type setting where you have the multiple TVs. There were some bad games on that were, juxtaposed with the Alabama LSU game, or Florida State game. LSU, that was another team I wanted to hit on. They had a big win, their first win the opening week since 2019, which was of course a natty year for them with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
That natty being one of the last big sporting events before COVID. COVID took everything off the rails there in 2020. I remember that one fondly. But yeah, they get the win as well over Clemson, 17-10. We mentioned Florida State. We haven't talked the Arch Manning experience, but maybe I'll save that a little bit here. College football on the Boston radio airwaves always plays big.
Yeah.
So I expect there to be plenty of calls.
Usually is a big driver of phone traffic.
Yeah.
Because everybody's always paying attention to college football around here.
Well, I'm surprised that, my Stonehill College, my alma mater, the Skyhawks, who went down to Sacred Heart 12-7 on Saturday. I'm surprised that effort isn't being dissected by more callers or YouTube chatters, but we'll see if we get there.
So my son's at Merrimack.
Yeah.
So I was kind of watching, keeping track of that game. They lost a heartbreaker to Kent State, which would have been a MAC win. I know Kent State's not a great MAC team, but They kicked a field goal with about 5 minutes left to go up 17-14. And then Kent State ran the kickoff back for a touchdown.
Oh,
they lost 21-17.
That's brutal. Yeah, Merrimack a little more experience at that level than Stonehill has. They're a recent convert, so still getting the knocking the rust off for the Skyhawks. They were the Chieftains when I went there.
I remember
the Stonehill College Skyhawks. So 617-779-0985. Any thoughts on what happened over the weekend? We'll take them. I think it might be time to talk a little bit of Arch Manning as well. We could get to that. We could get to the big tilt tonight, North Carolina. Probably the only reason that we would talk about North Carolina football.
It's the only reason why the game is on.
Yeah, Bill Belichick, his
Chapel Bill
first game at the helm, and Jordan Hudson in the news as well this week. I went to a birthday party maybe about a month ago, and a friend comes up to me and he just goes, "Hey, I'd love hearing you on the air. Always listen to the station. Always enjoyed when you're on." He's like, "But I got to get more news on this Jordan Hudson." And I'm like, "Really?
More?
Really? Okay.
All right. He doesn't listen to Fred.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I got nothing, but she had a little something last week as well. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin will hit your Sports Hub headlines in a little bit. And hour number 2 of this Labor Day Toucher and Hardy fill-in spectacular coming up.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Strength as a coach to me is developing players. You know, how you engage with them, how you inspire them, how you influence them, how you impact their development to improve. And it's very difficult to do when you have that many new players in this short of time to get ready for a season and get ready for a game. He's going to have success at North Carolina.
I didn't train anything like that yesterday.
On yourself. You know, it's tough. It's tough when you're on the big stage. Bill Belichick on the big stage tonight, I guess, or his team on the big stage. North Carolina taking on TCU. Yeah. The same, well, not the same, but the same Horned Frogs program that was surprised by a potentially overhyped, a lot of people thought Colorado team a couple of Labor Day weekends ago will now go against the Tar Heels. But Nick Saban's going to stump for his guy.
I was going to say, what I didn't see coming? Nick Saban suggesting that Belichick would have a lot of success at North Carolina. I didn't see that coming out that way.
Where do you land on this overall, Paul? Because we haven't kind of talked about this. I mean, just the fact that he's there, and B, what's our, I guess, what's our expectation this year out of Bill Belichick at UNC?
I think it's such a hard question to answer unless you're really into, the college football landscape and the ACC in particular. North Carolina has always been one of those schools that is kind of, they're going to win 8 games. Mm-hmm. They're going to go 8-4. They're not going to be a threat, really. They're not necessarily going to be in that conversation with the best of the best. They're not going to be a college football playoff kind of team, but they're also not going to be, down the bottom of the league winning 2 games. Like some of those teams, like you see happen with Wake Forest or like Duke, some of the. I know Duke has been better in the ACC,
but historically,
those teams at the bottom, they're not.
Right.
They're not a bottom feeder. They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
Can Belichick, sort of tighten things up and get more out of that than maybe Mac Brown did? I don't know. Like I have a lot of respect for Belichick's, coaching resume and whatnot. No, there's no question. Some of the things he's come up with, he's one of the best to ever do it. But I don't know at this stage of his life if he's going to such a different environment with not a lot of players that he's overly familiar with, as Nick just talked about in that clip. A lot of portal newcomers and whatnot. I just don't know how much talent he has to work with. Now, I know that the ACC is not the SEC.
Right.
But, I watched at Clemson the other night. I watched what Florida State did. Those are ACC teams that he's going to have to deal with. Miami. I don't know. Like, their schedule is easy. They don't have to play a lot of those big boys. Mm-hmm. But I just see a continuation of the same for North Carolina. 7-8 wins the way they typically always do, but I don't see much more.
Yeah, and I guess you get a nice little pop in terms of your Q rating or whatever, because you brought in Belichick for however long it's going to be.
Sean, the game is on Labor Day night on national television in front of a sold-out crowd in North Carolina. That would not be happening. None of that would be happening.
Absolutely not.
If not for the arrival of Belichick. So I understand what North Carolina's thinking, and it's worked.
Yeah, you just think of the flies that you can attract to your program, in ensuing years here. I mean, whether he's there or not, it's putting North Carolina football on the map.
See, that's what I'd like to see moving forward. Does this attract star players? Like Deion Sanders was undoubtedly an attraction for Colorado. People wanted to play for Deion Sanders. Will Belichick have that same kind of allure to an 18-year-old kid, a 19-year-old kid?
Yeah, I mean, from a game planning perspective, you mentioned some of these, potential ACC matchups that Belichick could be facing, and it's just like, that aspect to me is kind of salivating because it's just like, when Bill kind of gets his dander up and has a challenge placed in front of him, like a real challenge, he's the kind of guy who's always been able to rise to the occasion, right? Like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do here with these kids? But then again, he's coaching kids, and if he seemed out of tune with or out of touch, with 24, 25-year-old guys, in the pros the last couple of years of his experience there. What's that going to look like on the college level when, they're generationally, they're even different. Are they still Gen Zers in college now, or is it a different generation? Do we need to do generation talk here on a Labor Day? Because that's just something that I always find myself running into. Because as a Generation X millennial on the cusp baby that I am,
okay,
that it's fascinating to me, like what makes up these divides here. But it really does matter so much, how you. I guess his only real experience with his people is with his current relationship. It's just
I'm an old, so I'm not here for the generation talk.
All right, that's good. That's good because we don't want to waste any more breath on that. But it is fascinating to me. But this could go very badly, I think.
Well, that's the operative question: is how
right?
How would you guys measure the coaching success Bill Belichick could have this year versus like how do you think it will be measured? Because I think a lot of people are just going to go wins, losses, and determine it from there. I think if he's keeping kids in the program and out of the transfer portal, I think that would be massive.
You mean after the season?
Oh yeah,
there's almost no chance of that.
Well, that's just it. It's
the best coaches in the country don't do that.
No, of course not. But I think if he can get these, again, not to do the generation talk, but if he can get people to buy into what he's doing, I think it's an indication that he can have success in college. I don't know, long term. I don't know how long he plans on doing this, but I think that gap between like the Bill Belichick cachet of what he was able to do here for the last 20 years, I don't know if it's going to fly the same way. I don't know.
I agree.
Because I think the biggest thing, and I heard so many, Paul, back me up, the amount of ex-Patriots that would come in here in day one and say, oh my God, he's chewing out 12. If he talks to Tom Brady that way, what is he going to do to me? He doesn't have that guy. He doesn't have that guy that he can make an example of.
Right.
And I think if I'm a kid and I'm, maybe I have a future in this, some mid-level future in it, or if I'm just playing football because I like football, I don't know how much of that I want to hear. I don't know how much.
To Sean's point,
yeah.
As Bill went on and Brady left, it wasn't as well received. You hear a lot of the Ninkoviches and the Harrisons and those guys talk like the way you just said, Ryan, but then in more recent times, it was like, this guy's just never happy, and they didn't, I don't think they enjoyed necessarily the same kind of stuff that motivated the veterans of the past. Didn't happen the same way.
Also, you had like guys would come here, on their mid-30s, veterans who never played for like a good, successful, well-run organization, and they come here and they instantly buy in because they want to win. Now you're trying to get guys to come to your program at 18, 19 years old for what? Because Bill Belichick was a really successful head coach. Not when you were. You were a baby. Why would you care if Bill Belichick was awesome in 2003?
And I'm sure he's going to get some people to come in because he's Bill Belichick, and I think that some kids will look at that and say, this guy obviously knows how to prepare players for the NFL because he was in the NFL for so long. He knows what it takes. There will be some. I just don't think there will be a lot of those. I think you look at, again, I don't think Deion's a great coach. I know that he's kind of a polarizing guy. I've always loved Deion. I loved Deion as a player. I loved him. I just loved watching him play. I don't see anything special as a coach other than he's Deion Sanders and people want to play for him.
Yeah. So therefore he attracts talent.
Right.
And that's kind of how you get some of the results that you get.
Whereas I think Bill obviously is a vastly superior coach. X's and O's wise, game plan wise, organization wise, but I don't know if he has the same cachet to lure talent.
See, and this is why generations are very important.
Well, that's, put a bow on it, Sean. That's the essence of this, isn't it? One guy's in his 70s and the other guy seems a little bit more younger and hipper.
Well, Deion, I think, is going to play well with like his top guys. I think a lot of coaching probably goes into developing guys like 1 through 6. Whereas if you're like the 60th kid on the roster, maybe
you're
having
transferring.
Bill Belichick, hey, you know what? Oh, you're not going to work with Dion, but Bill Belichick will sit there, and if you're willing to listen to
if you're
him,
a gunner,
I mean, good Lord.
Chapel Hill's the place for you.
For fun. Bill's not going and scouting guys for the Patriots. He's going to D3 Texas schools to work to show these guys like the fundamentals, and you put your hand here and you got to hit them and go right through them. Like, I think it's the teaching aspect that I'm so fascinated by. Like, if Bill Belichick really wants to do this, ultimately, I think he would like to be in the NFL, but he is also a guy that loves to teach football. And if you're a kid that really wants like an all-encompassing education on the game, I think you could do worse than the North Carolina football program.
Yeah, wasn't it like the first transfer portal guy he got was like a defensive tackle from Holy Cross or something like that. It's just like,
yep,
it's out of central casting.
Gonna coach this guy up.
Smart kid, looking to go up a level. I'll play for Belichick, and that's so funny though. It's like Penn State's like a linebacker you, North Carolina will be like special teamer you.
There you go, gunner you. 617.
I really think I could be a good vice guy.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm gonna go to North Carolina. Bill will teach me how to be a vice guy. That's what you're looking at.
Do you think Matthew Slater's got a lot of texts so far from somebody that, hey, do you want to, come on down? We'll talk to these kids. We'll impart some wisdom on you.
I love Slater.
Hall of Famer, Matthew Slater. No, I like Slate too. He's a great guy. But I could absolutely see, like, those are the guys that Bill Belichick is going to reach out to come on down.
These kids will be
talk to the kids.
Huh? Okay, yeah. Matthew Slater, he had a pretty good
played in the
career.
NFL for like 15 years.
Yeah,
all right,
amazing.
boys and girls, please welcome Brendan Schooler.
There you go. There's a real one. 617-779-0985 as we roll along here on a Labor Day morning. I feel like I'm waking up a little bit here.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a coffee drinker, so it just kind of has to. You're not a coffee drinker either, Paul?
No, I usually have a Diet Pepsi in me by now, though.
Okay, but you haven't had one?
No.
Oh, wow, look at this. What a performance.
Even I had to draw the line at 4:45 when I left my house.
This is like the Jordan flu game here. Paul Perillo playing without a Diet Pepsi. Ryan Garvin, I don't know what sort of assistance he has had to get going this morning.
Oh, nothing legal. I'm not telling on myself.
But either way.
Look, I'm here, all right?
We are here. We are here for you. Sylver, Perillo, Garvin. It's Labor Day. I don't know where we're going next. You tell us. 617-779-0985. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Save on coffee cravings at Whole Foods Market.
use it to
How have you been saying
terrorize
it? Did I miss
me.
that?
Huh?
You've been saying it wrong?
What?
Toucher and Hardy?
Well, no, I mean my voice cracked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the wrong part.
Oh,
The
I
wrong
thought maybe
part
you were
was
doing, Hardy and Toucher.
Hardy and Toucher. No, there's no doubt the name of the marquee of this show. No insult to one Rob Hardy Poole. But yeah, no, the broadcast professional just doesn't wake up ready to talk is all that is right there. So
what are you going to do?
So Paul's here. We're going to talk plenty of Pats this morning it's a game week. It's a game week in 2025. We are on the cusp of the game planning, the breathless updates about what's going to be going on for week 1, the actually getting hyped for game 1 of the Mike Vrabel era. I mean, I want to ask you this off the bat here, and this is kind of, I don't know, one of many questions, because when I get to pick your brain, I get an opportunity that I don't usually have, say, when I'm like sitting here by myself on a Sunday afternoon, just bloviating. Has your temperature on the team and maybe your outlook from, say, the offseason with all the, oh, wow, we got Vrabel back. Oh, wow, we got McDaniels back. And, we brought in these free agent signings and, we're going to have this, that, and the other thing and looking pretty good. Has your optimism maybe, I guess, A, we got to get, where you were kind of after all that happened.
Yeah.
And B, where are you after going through camp and a preseason slate for whatever that's worth? I mean, has that optimism diminished at all? Is there more of a realism setting in, or did you always kind of temper your expectations?
So you touched on it when you said you got to kind of let us know where you stood before.
Yeah.
My temperature has not changed at all on the team.
Yeah.
Now, you might look at that and say, Paul's still really, really high in the team. I didn't really see the 11-12 wins that people were talking about from the start. So I would say that they had a pretty solid training camp. It wasn't perfect. There were some bumps along the way. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of Diggs with May, say maybe in a game setting, but he was out there for all the practices. So that was pretty good. Obviously, the Christian Gonzalez situation hasn't been ideal. I think this is a really important day and week for him. I'd like to see him out there later today when the Patriots practice.
Yeah.
That would make me feel a little bit better going into the opener. But overall, I thought that Drake May looked like he showed some aptitude for the new offense with Josh McDaniels and whatnot. So I think it was a pretty solid camp. Not perfect, but pretty solid. Again, I just think they made improvements across the board, but there's still a lot of holes. And I think a lot of people overlooked a lot of those holes, and then they watched them in training camp, and they were like, oh, I thought it would look better than this. And I'm really not sure why. But, to each his own. We'll see how it all unfolds. I mean, I look at this as a team that should improve. And I think if, the baseline, in my view, should be 7.
Mm-hmm.
But you could, if things fall into place, you stay healthy and you beat, some of the teams. You take advantage of the bad football that Mike Vrabel talked about when he got the job, and you could win, 8 or 9.
Yeah.
But 11, 12, and I heard one person say 13. I just
wow.
I don't
there was
really
a 13 out there.
I just
somewhere
don't. I
in the
don't
wild.
see where those wins are coming from.
To figure out who said that 13.
So I
judge.
am optimistic. But I think by comparison to some of my colleagues, I guess I sound like I'm not overly optimistic because they have, double-digit win totals that I don't see.
Right. And I mean, not like I'm plugged into the team like you are or anything, but I started out 7 or 8. I mean, and again, summer weekend, you see your buddy, you're hanging out, you do a fantasy draft, you're watching college football, you're just talking football all weekend. And he's like, all right, let's run the schedule through one more time. He's a Niners fan, my buddy on Long Island. So, sorry for him, a lot of years. But, we're running through it, and I hit a point. I don't know if it was because of the number of beers I had, but it was just like I couldn't come up with a way to get this team down to like 7 wins.
That's the booze talking.
Yeah, it was.
I could come up with a way to do that, but that now we're talking injuries, and this is what I
right.
And I've been through this a little bit with Mike and Tony when I do Wednesdays, and there's a lot of guys. I think they had a really, really good offseason. And I know that there's a lot of teams that, quote, win the offseason and doesn't. But generally, that gives you a bump. Generally, when you have a quality free agent crop, like in 2021, when Mac Jones was a rookie, that team won 10 games, not because of Mac Jones was a rookie quarterback, but because of Hunter Henry and, Kendrick Bourne had a good year. They brought in a bunch of guys that gave them a lift.
Yeah, some were good, some were not so good. But
not
either
all
way,
of them. I mean, Matthew Judon.
Yeah,
they had a
Johnny
good free
Smith
agent
didn't
class.
do anything that first year.
They had a good free agent class, and it gave them a bump, and then you immediately go right back. That's generally what it's about if you don't draft well.
Yeah,
that free agent injection will give you a little bit of a lift, but it's like a short-term high, and then if you don't augment that with quality drafts, you go right back. Look at on the defensive side of the ball, and I keep saying this. Milton Williams is better than Devon Godchow. Harold Landry is better than Josh Uche. Robert Spillane's better than Juwan Bentley. Carlton Davis is better than Jonathan Jones. Like, they brought in a number of guys that are better than the guy they're replacing, so they should be better, right?
Right. Should be better.
Offensively, I don't think they did that as much. I think Morgan Moses is better than DeMontre Jacobs at right tackle.
Yeah.
So
low bar, but yes.
And DeMontre Jacobs is no longer, with the team, so I don't mean to single him out, but he's the guy who played the majority of the snaps at right tackle last year.
And you had injuries last year on that line, which, affected your expectations there.
Which is where I'm going. So you put all these pieces in place, and then you factor in, okay, all right, so they are better there. But now what happens if, say, 3 guys go down? Where do the replacements come from? And, when you look at the situation at safety, I think people would have looked at it and said, well, Duggar will be better. He was hurt last year. He's going to be a better player than he was. He's been a better player than he showed last year. Previously, he was better than what he played last year.
For sure.
They clearly don't think he's a scheme fit. They're looking to sort of move on. They weren't able to move on from him, so they went to the next best thing, and they moved on from Jabril Peppers instead. Okay, I don't really understand that. I think that when you have good players, you find a way to fit them into your scheme somehow, even if they're not ideal fits, but they've done what they're doing.
Well, is that Vrabel doing what Vrabel has kind of been doing since he got here, which is blowing out a lot of, for all encompassing purposes, Belichick guys, the guys who were kind of carrying the message, carrying the Patriot way mantra. And it feels like the first thing that Mike Vrabel did when he got here was start getting rid of guys who had been captains, leaders, voices on this team. And Jabril Peppers just happened to be the latest guy to go.
Yeah, I just, for the most part, the guys that he moved on to, it was convenient to move on from. Like David Andrews is one of my favorite Patriots. Just real beat up physically, and I don't even know if he felt like he could come back and give it a go. I think he wanted to try to give it a go, but like you could sort of understand where Bill was coming. Where Mike was coming from. Sort of moving on from Jabril Peppers and to a lesser extent Kyle Duggar, because Duggar's still here. What are you moving on to? Jalen Hawkins?
Yeah.
Craig Woodson, who's never played a down in the NFL. I understand that you want to have some of your draft picks come in, and that's ideally they're going to need these guys to be good players. They're going to need Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, Craig Woodson. Obviously, we like what we've seen from Travion Henderson. They're going to need these guys to hit. But if they don't, then what do you fall back on?
So to that point, Paul, Sean, I'm looking at ESPN has their football power index up, and Mike Reese, guess what his biggest concern is for this team going into the year?
I didn't see it, but I would say depth.
Depth across the roster. Mike Reese writes, the drop off from starters to back up at the majority of positions is significant. And I'll just add here to what Paul's saying. It's like if there was ever a time for a draft class to hit in the first year, it almost has to be this year. I mean, looking at what they've done on defense alone, it's interesting. In years past, you've heard defenses maybe not as good as this. You know, the E word gets thrown around, elite. And this era of Patriots football has come in and basically gotten rid of every single guy with, you know, Christian Gonzalez is still here, Keon White's still here, Christian Barmore's still here. But, I mean, you look across the depth chart, it's almost an entirely brand new defense. So then on top of that, if a Harold Landry goes down, if Carlton Davis needs some time because of how much practicing he hasn't done, where is that depth coming from? It's like the margin of error that they've given themselves at the beginning of the year feels, and it's just a feeling, but it feels very slim right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is when you start, and again, what Mike Vrabel is doing is not outside the box what most coaches do. You come in and you do exactly what Ryan said, and you sort of move on from guys that weren't really tied to you, unless, you know, like I would be surprised if they did that with Christian Gonzalez.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
unless they're elite players.
Right.
So, you know, some of the guys that they moved on were older, you know, like Godchow and Andrews and those kinds of guys. And maybe other guys, they're a little concerned with, you know, the message. And you know, you want to have your own guys come in and sort of replace them. But that leaves you
that's
thin.
The Peppers example, I
but
guess,
that leaves you thin. And if I would say that they have a chance to be better, but you know, you could talk to me in late October and you say, well, what happened, Paul? I thought you thought they were going to be a lot better. And I could say, well, you know, I was envisioning X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z all went down, and they didn't have anybody to replace them.
Yeah, well, that's the double-edged sword between the optimism of the new hire and the free agent class that you brought in versus the fact that you still have, you know, kind of that stink on you from consecutive 4-win seasons. And, you know, now that we know what the roster is, you've got, whereas only Marcus Jones is left from 2022 draft class.
Is that the last guy left from that class,
and
too? So
only,
you have
only 2 guys left from 2024 that are on the roster. Obviously,
right.
Polk injured, and I don't think anybody's necessarily high on him. So that is what gives you that depth issue when you just haven't been drafted.
That's why you're in the spot
sure.
you're in.
Exactly.
The last 10 years, you go look at the drafts and just how little talent they get out of that. You know, Gonzalez is an outlier. Barmore's an outlier. They don't have enough guys that they've drafted that are in prominent spots right now.
So it's hard to look at this draft class and just say, oh, man, we need some hits right here because you don't have a track record of that.
So, and here's where I'll be Debbie Downer, okay? So right now, you look at that draft class, and I just rattled off the top 4 picks. They all look like they're going to be significant parts of this team.
Yeah.
You have 2 offensive linemen that could be starting. You have a third down back who looks as electric as any player the Patriots have had in recent seasons. And you have a safety who's probably going to be starting in week 1. Mm-hmm. Go back to last year at this time and tell me what you thought of the draft class. Now, you had Drake May, obviously. And you had Jalen Polk, who was starting week 1.
Well, everybody hated Jalen Polk from the rip because he wasn't Lad McConkey.
Incorrect.
Okay,
I will push back
I didn't
strongly
like Jalen Polk because he was not Lad McConkey.
All that we saw from Jalen Polk at this time last year was 1,000 catches in training camp and him starting in week 1. That's what we saw from Jalen Polk.
I remember feeling optimistic about Jalen Polk.
Okay, everybody
he was
across
never
the board,
McConkey, but
everybody across the board loved Jalen Polk. Now, I'm with Ryan. I did not.
Yeah.
But that's probably a me thing more so that he's not my kind of receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I like speed. I like athleticism over sort of, you know, can make contested catches type guys.
Yep.
You know, that to me was Jalen Polk. But anyway, at this time last year, people were really high on Polk. At this time last year, Caden Wallace was not just considered to be a chance to start at right tackle. Some people thought he could play left tackle.
Yeah.
Now he's not even a tackle. Now he's a guard.
Still on the roster.
Layden Robinson was starting. You know, by what? October, he was in the starting lineup at guard. Now he's not on the team.
Yeah.
Javon Baker was a guy that, what a steal in the 4th round. This guy is unbelievable athleticism.
Eagles.
But he was available in the 4th round because a lot of people had him off their draft board.
Yep.
You know, for maturity and character issues. So I just would caution of how you think about a draft class now. Wait a couple of years and see what they look like. And it didn't even take a couple of years for the 24 draft class to look a lot different. Because I'm telling you, heading into Cincinnati last year, people were really high on the 2024 draft class. And now basically all you have is Drake May to show for it.
Yeah. That's a tough pill to swallow. Sylver, Perillo, Ryan Garvin, 617-779-0985. You want to talk Pats? When we got Paul in, that's a time to talk Pats. And, obviously some concerns because as much as we look at the schedule and say, that team's easy, I guarantee when you have, Mike Reese coming out and, with the thing that Ryan just mentioned saying, hey, the depth across the roster is that big of an issue. When you have some of the issues that Paul just pointed out, I guarantee those other teams look at you and say, yeah, we can win that game. So there we are as we enter 2025. Still some optimism in the air for Mike Vrabel's first year at head coach. And we'll go over some more of that coming up here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, the Red Sox got the Duke over the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday at Fenway Park. 5-2 your final. 98.5 The Sports Hub. This is Toucher and Hardy, but you might notice that the voices and personalities are vastly different. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin on this Labor Day. We are laboring. We are getting ready for Week 1. Gillette Stadium going to be rocking. Hosting the Raiders.
Yeah, it will be.
It will be.
This is.
Preseason game number 1. Obviously, you had the Brady statue was a thing, but it was rocking for that.
Yeah, didn't you feel like there was a different vibe? And everybody keeps asking me, "What's it been like down the?" And I keep saying the same thing. Energy has been like the word of the offseason, and it's like it's like like that stupid the intent. It's palpable. Like you can feel a different.
You could cut
vibe.
It with a knife.
Even in the building, you can feel it a little bit. Now that'll be great if you don't win games. Like the energy level's not going to stay up there. But I definitely feel there's a greater optimism, and we continue to talk off air about the schedule and the teams that they play. And one of the things that I'm really the most optimistic with Vrabel about is the little things in the margins that I think. Went against the Patriots last year in the Gerard Mayo era. And it's, giving away possessions. Do you remember that Seattle game, Week 2? They lost in overtime. It's a good game, but it's a game the Patriots probably should have won. Late in the first half, and this happened, I would say, 3-4 times during the course of the year. Late in the first half, Patriots have the ball. They couldn't decide if they wanted to try to score or not. They were, backed up in their own end. It looked like they were running the clock out. Then all of a sudden they throw a pass. It's incomplete. And instead of getting to the half in the situation they were, they give a free possession away to Seattle, which goes down and gets in field goal range, and they kick a field goal. Basically they gave away 3 points. I don't think that kind of stuff will happen with Mike Vrabel. I think he's a little bit more buttoned up with the details than Gerard Mayo and his staff were last year. And that's why he talks about we need to get in position to take advantage of bad football. I think too often last year the Patriots weren't able to do that. That Colts game at home last year where, like Anthony Richardson leads like a 20-play drive to end the game. And then they get the 2-point conversion to win it at the end. That kind of stuff I can't see happening. But at the same time, I just don't pencil in all those games. The Carolinas, Cleveland's, Tennessee's, New Orleans. I don't think all of those are going to be wins. Some of them will, but
or at least they'll be in a better opportunity.
Yeah,
they'll put themselves in a better position to win the game.
Make the other team beat you. Don't beat yourself.
Don't gift it to them. I mean,
and I do believe that will be the case.
I think that the thing that I am very curious about is just how buttoned up is this team going to be. Bill Belichick's last year, there were 89 penalties called against the Patriots. Last year, there was 111. And it really felt like the ones that would kill him the most, it's the procedural stuff. It's your dumb offensive linemen who don't know the snap count. It's the guys jumping off sides. It's the guys holding, like brainless holding calls. And your offense the last 2 years has not been good enough to overcome starting 1st and 15 every single drive.
How many times did you see it last year where it'd be like first down, an illegal procedure? Like you got a little something going, and now, like Ryan says, you get yourself behind the chains. Or you get a decent play and it's called back for a hold. And that's another thing. Last summer, all those pre-snap penalties that you saw during the season, we saw them every day at training camp.
Yeah,
every day,
and they didn't get worked out.
Haven't really seen them this year. Haven't been a lot of pre-snap issues with the team this year. They didn't get a lot of penalties in the preseason games themselves. I know I think they had a delay a game in Minnesota in that game, but few and far between. Last year, it was to the point, I remember Austin Hooper talking about this last summer during training camp, just saying, hey, look, we're going to have this, because, when they jump offside in training camp, they generally run. The offense runs, and he was like, we're going to have to make a decision. Do we want to be a cross-country team or do we want to be a football team? And it just never, ever stopped.
Oh, man.
It never stopped. This year, I have noticed it's been a noticeable difference. I haven't seen as many of those issues, and I think Ryan makes a good point. When your offense is a little bit limited, you can't afford even the 5-yard penalty that sets you back a little bit. So they're going to need to be buttoned up.
Yeah, I think
I think they will be.
The refrain of last year, I'd take my kids to go get pizza at the place up the street, and they had a TV, and we'd be watching, whatever 1:00 Patriots game was going. But I can't get the image out of my head of my 6-year-old son at the time, just putting his hands on his head and just being like, Jacobs again? What is wrong with these guys? We can't even run a play. 6 years old.
6 years old, and he's lamenting the right tackle jumping offside?
Well, because just the announcers keep saying, oh, it's Jacobs. Oh, it's Jacobs. He knows there's a reason they can't actually do a football play here because of Jacobs.
So, and what's funny about that, too? A lot of people would be like, those are such mindless penalties. The false starts, when they line up in the backfield, the legal formation stuff. To me, those are also they're in part related to talent. Mm-hmm. When you don't trust your talent, you're trying to beat the snap count. Mm. You're trying to line up in a spot where it's illegal. You're too far back. That generally, those are related. When you don't have confidence in your ability, you're trying to do things to compensate.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you're trying to compensate for it.
Oh, so that first Miami game, they lost 15-10 last year. They had 105 penalty yards called against them. So bad. 15-10, you win that game. I mean, good Lord. Defensive, too many men on the field. Offensive holding, Jacobs. False start, Everett. Delay of game. Offensive, no, that's Miami. Offensive holding, Stevenson. Offensive holding, Everett. You just go down the line and go, guys, you're not talented enough to, first and 15, no big deal. We'll get it back on a bunch play. There was never a point last year, even in Belichick's last year, where you could go, oh, we're fine here. In order for teams like this to take the next step, you have to start winning on the margins. To me, I'm probably more in line with where Paul is right now. 7 wins, I go, wow, that's a pretty good year for them. But are they a stupid football team? Or did they finally smarten up and I don't know, get into the coaching, get into the stuff that you're supposed to. Just do you know where to line up? Do you know what the snap count is? Why do we practice? Why do we have practice if you can't even tell me what the snap count is on this play?
Right, and to piggyback with Mike Reese talking about the depth across the board. So I will say that those two things, if they stay reasonably healthy and the depth doesn't become a huge factor, and then obviously no no splitting the atom here, but if Drake May makes a big step forward, then I absolutely can see more wins. 7 to me is the baseline. But I could see 8, 9, 10 wins. If Drake May's really good and they stay reasonably healthy, I could see more than that. 9, 10 wins, absolutely. Yeah, because the schedule's not overly daunting.
Right, and that's your best case scenario. So we had talked about it, right? The quote unquote, what we see as winnable games, but what the other teams also see as a winnable game.
Oh, they're licking their chops looking at the Patriots.
Right? So, can you go 500 in those games? Last year, we didn't. Clearly, and for the reasons that we just enumerated there. But this year is the reason going to be because this is a more professional unit and they're not making the mistakes, and therefore you pull out 2/3 of those games or 3/4 of those games. Is it going to be because May makes some sort of seismic jump? But at least we have here some sort of basis for how you can get to 9 or 10. And it's clearly not looking at the roster after the way that people reacted with the 11 rookies and everyone overreacted about the 8 receivers. Now it's no longer 8. But yeah, no, depth is an issue, and Ryan brought this up during the break, and we can talk about this. The FPI on ESPN, the Football Power Index, the New England Patriots, folks, 26th.
Too high.
So
26th.
Ryan. I'll get you kicked
Jesus,
off Patriots. I'll get you kicked off Patriots.com for that.
That's way too high.
Do you have that up in front of you, Sean?
I do.
Can you rattle off 27 through 32 for me?
27, New York Giants. 28, Panthers. 29, Jets. 30, Browns. 31, Titans. 32, Saints.
Okay, so 32 Saints. 31 Browns. What was
30 Browns. 31 Titans.
So, okay.
Which is a team you see.
That's 3 teams.
Mm-hmm. 3 teams you see.
Jets, you see twice. That's 5.
Mm-hmm. And Panthers and New York Football Giants.
Okay, so you see every one of the teams behind you, and one of them twice. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. You see them all.
So it's almost impossible to bury these guys.
And you see the Jets twice. So this is my point. If you can win on the margins,
yep.
you just stop shooting yourself in the foot you're going to have an opportunity to win more games.
Yeah, that's 7 games. So you go 4-3 in those games, or 5-2 in those games, and say 4-3. Like conservatively, you win more than you lose against teams that are decidedly worse than you. And there you go. There's more than half of your win total, Ryan. Right there.
I would also say that, so Tennessee. Let's look at Tennessee for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're saying, well, if Drake May takes a big leap forward, well, what if Tennessee, who I don't think is overly talented, but they have some ability, they have the number 1 overall pick at a quarterback. What's happened the last 2 years with rookie quarterbacks? C.J. Stroud 2 years ago, the 2nd overall pick, hit. Houston went from a terrible team to a 10-win team and won the division. The following year, Jaden Daniels, 2nd overall pick, did the same thing. They went from 4 wins to 12 wins. What if Cam Ward does that for Tennessee? What if he hits the way those guys hit? He lifts all boats, and all of a sudden Tennessee's a good team.
Cam Ward outguns Drake May.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily...
Not impossible.
I wouldn't necessarily expect that, but we have seen it happen the last 2 years. Rookies have come in right away and went from nothing to really, really good. So that's why, like, when you look at it and you start just sort of add up all these wins, it's kind of, I mean, we do it. I mean, I like doing it. It's fun. Yeah. It's like a mock draft. Like,
there you go.
There's nothing more useless than a mock draft, but everybody does it.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we're here, to speculate. 2 more hours of speculation ahead here on Toucher and Hardy. And you know,
what we do.
And, whatever else that tickles your fancy at 617-779-0985. For all of our huge fans in the YouTube chat, feel free to sprinkle in some topics. We'll take them. We'll talk about them. We gotta get caught up on our summer. I mean, now we're no longer in the dark here in the studio. The sun is out. It is an actual daytime experience. And we will greet the day with positivity, and we'll greet the NFL season with positivity as well. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin here on Labor Day.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
on it, I was maybe going to drive it 100,000 more. And then one July night, the wrath of God came down upon my house. And
lightning struck it?
Lightning struck my home.
Wow.
Now, obviously, it could have been a lot worse. I could have, had a house fire. There could have been a number of things that could have happened in that situation. But lightning.
We don't want to think about those.
Lightning struck my house. It took out my truck, which was parked in the driveway. There was a large, probably volleyball-sized hole at the base of my garage door where the lightning just tore up the asphalt.
Really?
There's a tiny, dime diameter-sized hole, in the middle of said larger hole.
Wow.
Going through the asphalt, and there's just chunks of asphalt strewn across my driveway. And, it took out a whole bunch of, electrical components in the house. Tough stuff my HVAC was, but that was under warranty, so thankfully. But, stupid things like my computer printer, the wireless router in our house, all these,
that's
the
why you need a
electrician
surge
said,
protector. You know how they always sell you on they upsell you on the surge protector?
Well,
there you go.
I'll tell you what, the wireless, I'm going to shut everything off so I don't wake up in the middle of the night with the TV on, the lights on, all kinds of things going off. I'm just going to shut everything down in the house. So they did come back on, and I'm just flipping some switches, and all of a sudden there's just the noise, the brilliant flash of light, and I was underneath the foyer. The foyer. You walk into our house, there's a light above your head. I'm in the entry hallway, right?
Can't hide money over at the Sylver.
If you saw my...
Now, that's a Hardy line right there. That's why I'm sitting in for Hardy. That's a Hardy line.
Beautiful. Beautifully executed. The excellence of execution right there. But, if you saw my hallway, you would certainly be blown away, I'm sure. But the light right over my head, I had just shut off. It comes back on, and the smoke detector that's up next to it just starts going off. And I'm like, what is going on? I mean, I knew there was a blast of lightning, but I'm like, what is going on?
Oh, that would have freaked me out.
So immediately I run to get the fire extinguisher because I'm like, clearly lightning struck. Is there a fire? It smelled weird. It smelled bad. And it was, in retrospect, it was because the asphalt got burned up. So you had that burnt asphalt smell. And I'm just running around the house with a fire extinguisher at 11:15 at night. Can I put out a fire? What's wrong? The kids slept through it. Their noise machines came back on when the power was restored. They slept through it. Random lights came back on. It was so bizarre. But definitely a weird night. And then came the finding out what works and what doesn't work in my house.
And one of the things that didn't work was your truck?
Yeah, the next day I went to take my kids to camp, and just got into the truck and didn't turn over. Luckily, my wife was still home, so I was just like, honey, I'm gonna take the car. She's like, why? I was like, because the truck, it's not working. So I got them to camp, came home, tried to jump it, nothing. There was just nothing. And I took my trusty F-150 over to the garage. They were just like, we'll replace the main electrical panel. They did. It was getting power to the vehicle, but all the components, starter, alternator, this, that, the other, everything was just...
Wow.
So totaled. Insurance company took care of that. I'm now driving a Ford Maverick, decidedly smaller than an F-150.
Okay.
But pretty cool. It's got a hybrid engine.
Still a truck guy, though. I like that.
Still a truck. It's still
a truck guy.
The Maverick is smaller, but I can throw my kid's bike in the back. I can throw my bike in the back. I can go to the transfer station. All of the things that you want to do. I can help my
your truck needs.
Help my in-laws clean out their garage, which I did a couple of weeks ago. All the things that you need with a truck, a Ford Maverick can take care of, and I'm getting 40 some odd miles to the gallon. Let's go. There's an endorsement.
When it happened, did you know right away? Because when you hear lightning strike that close, it's it's unmistakable. It's like a bomb going off.
Yes.
You feel it.
Yes.
Were you like, wow, that was really close? Or should I go check the front of my house? Because that was a sound unlike anything I've ever heard before.
That was the next thing I did once, inside. We were just like, okay, the kids are okay. It doesn't seem like there's a fire inside the house. Let's go check the property, right? So I didn't find out until the next day that there was this hole in my driveway, because who would check your driveway, for a hole during a lightning storm? I'm checking, just around the
You're like,
the
there's
roof
no
line
way
and
that
stuff.
hit my house, because you would know if it or at least in theory, you would think you would know.
Yeah.
If lightning struck your house.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was just like a huge blinding light and loud noise.
It's like this
instant
like hiss, and then it's like the best way. It's like a bomb going off because lightning struck a neighbor's house of mine, but it was like 2 blocks away. But you could feel the impact. Everything shook.
Wow.
You're like it had to have been around here somewhere. I can't imagine what that possibly could sound like, feel like when it's basically your front yard.
Yeah, it was weird. And then also the next day when I was checking the property, I noticed like this huge dent in my gutter, but no tree had fallen. So I'm wondering, like, did this, because lightning can kind of spread out, did it hit like my gutter and my driveway and my truck?
Gutters
that's how it got your truck. Yeah,
I don't know.
So that, and then I was also finding a lot of like shredded bark in my yard, just like, not like sticks, but like bark.
Off a tree.
Like looks
Right
like you
off
had
the tree.
just shredded a tree and pulled bark, like long 12, 14-inch strips of bark. It was bizarre.
Scary. Do you have like a, like do you have a Ring doorbell?
No, we don't. See, there's not that much money in the Sylver house.
No, I'm sure there is.
Spring for one of those subscriptions.
All the rest of that story would sort of combat that, but you get like the Ring doorbell stuff.
Still a truck.
There's like a community, so everybody goes online every time you hear a noise. It's like
the nosiest people on the planet.
Did anyone hear that bang? I'm like, yeah,
it's July, you weirdo of their fireworks.
I can just imagine what it was like around the Sylver neighborhood.
So
Bedlam.
So the Ring thing. So is there like an app where people?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is like my town's Facebook group where they're like, "Oh, I just saw a coyote." Like, "Oh, look out!
Yeah.
Bring your dogs inside."
Coyotes are big. Those are big on the.
I saw
on
a
the Ring
person
doorbell.
I've never seen before in my neighborhood. It's like they're probably cutting through. Why don't you mind your business? I think
Mind your business, that's all.
I think
Mind your
the
business.
Ring communities are probably 10 times worse than these Facebook groups
I don't
because
know.
everybody.
So Ryan knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely! Everybody wants to solve
The Yenta groups.
Yeah, the Nancy Drews, the Hardy Boys. Everybody wants to solve a mystery. I heard a noise.
I thought fireworks were illegal in Massachusetts. Okay.
Meanwhile, you're like,
That's what
who
you're
are
dealing
you
with.
people? Like, apparently we live around each other, but I don't know who any of you people are.
Everybody's got an opinion. Doesn't mean that it's worth anything, right? Yeah, the Hardy Boys, relatives of one of the namesakes of the show. So yeah, it's wild in the nearly 2 months since this happened. How everyone's just like, how's your summer going? You can engage in the regular small talk, or you could just be like, yeah, my house got hit by lightning. It was kind of wild.
It's a great icebreaker.
So
lightning makes a great icebreaker.
Yeah,
and then the regular person was like, I didn't really care. That was just something you say.
Yeah, exactly. I got a story out of it.
Now I'm in a half-hour conversation.
Well, I've had so many conversations though with just random folks, like coaches from my son's like summer baseball league, and some guy was like, yeah, my uncle got struck by lightning twice and he didn't die, and I was just like, isn't the whole lightning strikes twice thing
Never strikes twice in the same place?
So I'm
Maybe
hoping
not.
that it doesn't strike twice for me. I guess part of this is I got a new vehicle, and I also have a car payment again now. That F-150 was paid off. That was nice, but interesting summer around the
As soon as you get that paid off, you'll get the Ring doorbell. You'll be all set.
See, there we go. We'll take it from one till to the other, because I'm still paying for daycare.
Oh yeah,
which is
that's big.
Which is
big expense.
Really brutal. I don't expect to feel like a millionaire next year when we stop paying for daycare, but I expect to feel significantly better.
You will.
But yeah,
you will.
The Empty Nest, Paul Perillo.
I told you it wasn't that great this weekend.
Who was Empty Nest? Was that Burt Reynolds or was that Evening Shade? I'm trying to think.
Empty Nest was Richard Mulligan.
Wow.
Bert from Soap.
Oh, look at that. Look at that poll.
Yeah, Chrissy McNichol, I think, was in that.
Okay, Chrissy McNichol. Fine singer.
I don't know, someone else. I can't think of who else. I don't know why I can't think of the other girl.
That's all right. We'll get on
Empty Nest.
We'll get on your Empty Nest.
It's like a
talk.
random 80s Saturday night kind of show that no one watched.
Yeah, probably one opposite Golden Girls.
Oh yeah, could be right in that
like
era.
That. Or maybe
might have been with it.
Maybe paired with Golden Girls.
Might have been with it.
I felt like in one of my Wikipedia deep dives into who knows what, where I was just like, oh, Golden Girls and Empty Nest. I think were maybe like what do they call it? like when the two shows are kind of in the same universe, and you can have guest stars cross paths.
Crossovers.
Yeah, you could have a crossover.
Yeah, that would definitely seem to be that kind of show.
Yeah, those Golden Girls. All right, 617-779-0985. That's my summer getting struck by lightning, but not really. Otherwise, though,
that's a story, though. That really is a story.
And again, I can talk about this and chuckle, and yeah, it was a pain in the neck. It was a lot of calling, contractors to get people to assess this and check that out, replace this and that, and going to the car dealership, who treated me very well, but they're not a sponsor, so I won't get into that. But could have been a lot worse, and it wasn't. So I feel grateful for that. But yeah, otherwise, the rest of the summer,
I would feel grateful. Like if it did that much damage, if it goes somewhere else, maybe it's not the same kind of an outcome. So I would look at it that way.
Yeah, it didn't damage me or one of my loved ones, right? So yeah, I'd feel kind of good about that. And the rest of the summer from there was just gravy. I mean, I was over at Kowloon 75.
Did you go?
I went.
Were you in the crew?
I am in the crew. One may not, assume that low-level fill-in host Sean Sylver is in the crew. I ride with the crew. I'm called for when
that's
when
cool.
needed.
So I'm a low-level fill-in holiday host as well, and I wasn't even aware that this was going on.
Don't you dare call yourself low-level.
And it was right up the street from where I live. I would have been there in a blink.
Well, as Joe Murray says, fellow Peabody resident, all it takes is to listen to Stairway to Heaven to drive from the Kowloon to his home, or vice versa.
Joe and I are very close. Yeah. We live less than a mile.
So there you go. It's right around the corner. But I went. Starship was the headlining band.
Starship,
and it's not Starship. You got no Grace Slick.
No,
I'm sure the musicians are not the original musicians, but Mickey Thomas is.
Oh, he was
there.
Still there.
75.
Wow.
And I got some good video. They sang Jane, like that. I don't know. Jane. It was like a late 70s classic rock one. It was a lot of piano. Dun, 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 dun,
I think I would know it if I heard it.
All right. So, yeah.
So did any group ever go from like
hits,
somewhat cool in the 70s to completely lame in the 80s like that?
He alluded to that before they played We Built the City.
What a terrible song.
He was just like, this album sold a lot. This one sold a lot of records for us back in the 80s. We like it a lot. Turns out that over time, we found out that a lot of people don't like this song. But we're going to play it anyway. But in their three eras, from Jefferson Airplane to Jefferson Starship to Starship, just the hits really built up. They played like 10 songs. They played a couple of songs where I was like, I didn't even know that was a this band song. For instance, the 70s, I don't know what you would call it. It's a 70s song. I fooled around and fell in love.
I didn't know that was...
That's not them.
Bishop. Elvin
Bishop. But Mickey Thomas is the vocalist.
Oh.
I had no idea of that until I was at...
that's a good song.
Yeah. It was good. Tavares also played. Local,
so now Tavares, I would have been there for.
There you go.
Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel.
Yes,
absolutely. That's a banger.
So that was, I'm sitting there and I knew these songs, and I was just like, I had no idea that Tavares had, penny for your thoughts, nickel for your kiss,
dime.
Tell Me That You Love Me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Good.
So, which Usher later interpolated on his debut CD in the 90s, because all I can talk about today is the 90s. But so I was talking to my dad, and I was like, do you remember Tavares? Because my dad's into music and, like 70s stuff. It was right in his wheelhouse.
Don't take away the music. How many songs did Tavares play?
Oh,
roughly. I mean,
I don't know.
Neighborhood. More than 5?
7 or 8, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they played... all right, so they had to play Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel.
Absolutely. Well,
right?
Yeah, that's the big one, right?
Don't Take Away the Music.
That was played. Penny for Your Thoughts.
Okay, that's another one. I wouldn't have gotten that one, though. They played Who Stole...
Yep.
Who Stole... what's the name of the song? Who Done It? Who Stole My Baby?
Who Done It? Yep.
Yeah.
That was it.
Who Done It? That. So that's 3 that I got.
Look at you.
What's the Bee Gees song that they also played?
Yep.
that their version was better than the Bee Gees, and I love the Bee Gees. But the Saturday Night Fever song, why can't I think of that one?
More Than a Woman.
More Than a Woman.
Yep.
Yeah, they played that, right?
A woman to me. Yep. Don't Take Away the Music.
Oh, I should have gotten that one. That would have been.
You were thinking of that.
That would have been the last one.
When you
that
said
I would
Who
have
Took
gotten.
Away, and you conflated Who Done It with Don't Take Away the Music.
No, that's two different songs.
Yeah, two different songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just playing hits. And so I was texting my dad, and I'm like, Tavares? And he was like, yeah. So apparently, I'm from Dennis, Massachusetts, proudly native Cape Codder. And apparently the father of Tavares used to be a coworker of my dad's at a bank in Hyannis. He's like, yeah, so... And my dad was probably working at this bank in the early 70s, and he was like, oh, yeah, he just used to talk to me about his boys all the time. And then they blew up and had all these hits. And I knew the songs. I never knew that this was a New Bedford-based, Massachusetts and Rhode Island-based band that had all of these songs.
Yeah, I took a lot of heat when I got to college because of my sort of affinity for, like disco. Dance music in the late 70s, and I still take a lot of heat now from my golf buddies because golf now, like everybody has to have music playing all the time, and mostly a lot of people will play like country stuff, and my brother-in-law likes to play like sort of the classic rock of the 70s, but whenever I'm having a couple of bad holes, he's like, okay, we got to get Paul out of the funk. He'll put like Donna Summer on. So yeah, Tavares, nice. I would have been there for that. That was right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah,
I had an album,
that.
a Tavares album back in my childhood that I remember fondly.
I appreciate that eclectic take on music there, because anybody can be a country music fan.
Oh, when I got to college and they realized that you listen to that stuff, and they were just beside themselves. All of my baseball teammates were like, "I can't believe you listen to this crap," and I'm like, "It's the greatest!" Like New Edition,
it was
like New
funny.
Edition Day yesterday.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
in Boston.
Yeah, it's funny how this stuff too, as it ages, like everybody just kind of is like, "Wow, that was great.
They come back.
Wow,
that was great." Why didn't I? Why didn't I be man enough to admit that I liked that when it was actually out?
Yeah,
which I can keep my head up high.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
That's why
Commodores.
That's why Tavares, with an 80-year-old and 75-year-old still in the lineup of the five guys, original members. The other ones have passed, but the original members still in the lineup can keep touring in 2025. So that was Kowloon 75, baby. It was a good time.
I missed it.
Joe Murray in the house. Andy Wong, the Wong family, very, very kind to have me along. Always nice to.
Sounds like it was a great time.
It's a good little.
Now Joe makes everything sound like it was a great time, but you actually made it sound like it was a great time.
It was hanging with the Murrays is always a great time. But yeah, the Wong family went all out for a select group of people at that big birthday party, and it was pretty cool. It was really cool. So yeah, no, good. Wow, 8:35. Oh, this clock is busted. Get me talking about Tavares. Let's talk about 70s soul music.
By the way.
Huh?
Many angry callers. Tavares, not Tavares.
What?
I don't know who these bands are.
What?
The calls I take.
Tavares. That's what it's called.
I don't know. Argue with the callers then.
All right. Bring them on. I don't have my screener up because I can't log in due to some sort of IP failure or something. I gotta talk to somebody in the office about that. 617-779-0985. Give me all the heat. Give me all the smoke. All right, Ryan. We're going to go to break. Sylver, Perillo. There'll be some headlines at some point. I don't know. We'll get this thing back together here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Claude Drake never happens at a good time.
pro, I guess, because I was not a pro, but I was on the card at a pro wrestling event.
I need more about this. Continue.
At my alma mater, Stonehill College.
Okay.
In 2002, of course I remember the year, a local independent wrestling organization came through, ACW, American Championship Wrestling.
I know what you're talking about.
And they put on a show at the college, and as part of the promotion, they had a thing where you could students could wrestle in the main event. So they had a whole contest. You had to have your gimmick and give a promo and get people hyped up and whatever.
And what was your gimmick?
Well, I was the Golden Child, not to be confused with the Eddie Murphy movie. I was the Golden Child. I was on the comeback trail after 37 knee surgery. So basically, I was like Bill Walton as a pro wrestler.
Okay.
And a lot of my mannerisms were, Macho Man, heavy on the, the spirit fingers and the, things like that, twirls and gesticulations. And so I
now
got.
I see why you were at the.
I got in the
Kowloon.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta give a little bit of that. Yeah, Paul Perillo. Yeah, Patriots.com.
So I was in a match. So on this card. One of the wrestlers in the real main event was Chris Candido, who was, around WWF, WCW for a long time. Notable
Is he one
guy.
of the body donnas?
There you go.
Skip
he was
or
Skip.
Zip?
He was Skip, and he was there with Sonny in his corner against another wrestler. I forget his name, but in that guy's corner was Captain Lou Albano.
Oh, wow. This was legit.
So in this student main event, I took a, fake punch, but I sold it, really well. I flipped over.
You have to sell it.
And this is on videotape somewhere in my basement, I'm sure. But I've looked back at it in the ensuing years and been like, yeah, I looked like a guy getting punched, getting knocked out, right? So Captain Lou came up to me in the hallway, outside the rec complex, and he just goes, "Hey, you okay? You look like you really took a shot there." And I was like, "Yeah, Lou, I'm fine. Thanks." And he's just like, "That's a hell of a bump, kid." And I was just like, "Yeah, he's using wrestling parlance on me." So
he
that
potatoed me.
I was waiting for him to say, if you're interested in this, you've got a future in this, kid.
I wish. They had us in for a training session that morning. And, just kind of told us how to, flat back, fall on your back.
Tuck
and,
your chin.
Yeah.
And you'll knock yourself out.
All the different things. And we scripted out, what was going to happen with the different wrestlers and who was in, who was out, what the moves were.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. I was in one wrestling match once. Now it's time to start training for a comeback. No Achilles, no ACL
Make
problems,
a heel
right?
turn?
It's
Make
fake,
a heel
right?
turn.
Yes. It's all about the heel turn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a 98.5 The Sports Hub heel turn. Maybe I'll become edgy. My takes will become very inflammatory.
You guys used to have the American Idol thing.
Oh yeah, 98 Mile.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're allowed to say. I know sometimes you get in trouble for some of these things, some of these phrases.
Yeah.
You guys should do. You got Jimmy, Joe. You guys should do some kind of a circuit.
A circuit.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Wrestling circuit.
We're gonna wrestle each other.
Yeah, Joe Murray.
I mean,
tell me Joe Murray's not a ready-made character.
Well,
come on.
Joe and I have at length on the night show, spoken about our extensive, backyard wrestling pasts. Joe apparently would, he'd do the Yokozuna bonsai drop.
So why don't you guys become a tag team tandem, and you could be managed by Big Game James Stewart?
We'd be unbeatable. Yeah. I mean, truly. Just think about the eyeballs that would get on your local wrestling event. Joe Murray. With low-level fill-in host Sean Sylver also.
Oh, that's just awesome. We got to do it.
We've come a long way because I know at the beginning of the show, it was like, oh, man, we should really avoid pickleball and, 40 and over basketball because you're going to tear out all the ligaments. And then by almost 9 o'clock, we're trying to book
I want to resurrect
matches.
his career.
We're going to bring him back.
Did Captain Lou tell you took a bump?
I took a bump.
Did he tell you that, Ryan?
Took a hell of a bump.
Took a hell of a bump.
No, this is true.
Now, when you said, but Lou, I'm okay. May I call you Lou? Or is it Captain?
Or is it a captain?
Now, did he have like all the elastics in his beard at the
I
time?
think by that point he had just gone to an elastic band around, kind of like a little, like a little Jim the Anvil Neidhart goatee thing coming out, with the point.
Well, you got to give the people what they want.
Yeah. No, but he was there. He was talking a lot of nonsense, but he did the one coherent thing, and I think he said was, you took a hell of a bump, kid.
That's great.
I was like, that's great.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Albano.
Pretty much.
What a great
Pretty much.
story.
Yeah,
That's a great story.
I'm like a 20-year-old, like college kid. And Captain Lou told me, I did something good in the wrestling ring. There we go.
Well, at least you didn't screw it up.
Well, yeah. No, I feel like my performance was pretty strong.
You want to piss off a wrestler at any level? Don't sell one of his punches. Then guess what happens? He really hits you the next time.
Yeah. That's called a receipt.
Yes.
There we go.
Wow. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. Bump, receipts. I know none of
potato. That's what they call it. You potato him. I caught a potato. That's a non-working punch.
There you go.
I got to start paying more attention at night, I guess.
Say that he works stiff. A wrestler who lays in
Sean is not known as a guy that works stiff. He's very easy to work with.
Yeah, thank you.
Very safe.
Yeah, very, very safe.
All right.
No, I do. We didn't see you at the Garden back in the 80s when Hulkamania was rocking.
I've been to a couple, but I don't think I ever saw the Hulk. I actually went to one in the 70s, way old school.
Oh, it's like Bruno Sammartino.
Bruno Sammartino.
Baron Mikhail Cicluna.
I believe he was also
Probably
there.
Eddie Edelman was somewhere.
Chief J. Strongbow was there.
There
and
you go.
I believe Haystacks Calhoun was there.
Wow.
This was like, I would say, mid-70s-ish, maybe 74,
I was fascinated
75.
with Haystacks Calhoun as a kid. Now, granted, he was no longer.
But I
able
went to
wrestle
one
by that point, wow.
more recently. I mean, not that recent. This was probably like 20 years ago at this point. But like The Undertaker was there, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. The Undertaker.
But a little different than my first experience at the old Garden and, like in the regular crowd. When I saw The Undertaker, I was in a luxury suite for that one. I was like, this is my extent. I don't want to be with the riffraff.
Upgraded.
Yes.
No longer among the hoi polloi, Paul Perillo.
Correct.
Now with his empty nest.
You keep going back to that.
Well, you talk about my foyer. I'm going to talk about your empty nest. I think we're both living the high life in our respective homes.
He's so
days.
jealous that he still has to pay daycare.
He's like calculating. He's got one of those, those guys that were going to retire and they have the amount. My brother-in-law has one of those.
Of course.
His retirement countdown.
He's checking it every
He
day.
has his empty nest countdown. Let me tell you something. The first Saturday of my empty nest did not go as planned. I was talking to myself doing yard work all morning. I had no one to talk to.
That's how I spend my days. Just generally, it's like I get
As I was
away
listening
from the
to
children.
Tavares on my my earbuds.
Surprised you weren't listening to the quality Sports Hub programming that we offer all the time.
Were you on Saturday? No, you were away. So what am I going to listen to?
You would have listened to me? That makes me feel good. Thank you, Paul. All right, 617-779-0985. I do see one call on, but I'm going to try and catch up here with the schedule of the thing. Capture the spirit of the thing, Reg.
Nice.
Sylver, Perillo.
I get that.
There we go. And Ryan Garvin here on a Labor Day.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Woo, these headlines are going to be hot and ready. Red Sox 5-2 over the Pirates. Jaron Duran inside the park home run. Giolito the win. Chapman his 27th save. Bayo on the hill as they take on the Guardians. I didn't anticipate that at all. That really surprises me. Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin playing the hits this morning as we labor on Labor Day with you here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll get to some more Patriots here as we approach the 9 o'clock hour. I did want to hit up Paul on the top 5 as Aaron Judge broke in yesterday. The top 5 Yankee home run hitters in history. Aaron Judge putting himself in there by tying Yogi Berra last night in a Yankees 3-2 loss to the White Sox of all teams. It's easy.
Yeah, so when you say it's easy, I mean, I think the top 3 I didn't really give any thought to at all. It has to be Ruth, Mantle, Gehrig. But when you said it was easy, it sort of made me pick my 4th one because I was in my mind going back and forth between 2 guys. Mm-hmm. But when you said easy, I'm going to pick Joe DiMaggio. Is that the 4th?
Yep, Yankee Clipper is.
So I was going between, full disclosure, between DiMaggio and A-Rod.
Which is a great point. I hadn't thought about it, but A-Rod came over there in, 2004? And then he played until 2012, 13, something like that? So, I mean, that's nearly a decade.
I just didn't think if you said it was easy, it would be A-Rod.
Right.
I figured it has to be play the hits.
So there you go. But the weird stat about that, I mean, I like this stuff, so I'm mentioning it, spending a couple minutes on it. The Yankees' top 5 home run leaders has been the same 5 names since 1957.
That is amazing.
So that's 68 years. And now Aaron Judge joins that
And in
listing.
this era of the home run,
yeah, right.
You'd think
about every other team's, top home run guys. I'm trying to think what the Red Sox would be. I mean, obviously Williams, Yaz 468 or something like that for Yaz. Rice 398.
Is he that many? I don't think he's that many.
He was just shy of 400.
And I think Evans actually had more than Rice.
Did he? I don't know about it.
And now Ortiz has got to be.
Ortiz has got to be there. Right. Did Ortiz have 500 for his career? Definitely 400.
And I don't know how many
Manny hit
with the Red Sox.
Yeah, but it's probably some.
There's a way we could look that up.
I'm sure there is. So let's shift gears for a second though, and go to Peter in Dedham, who's got thoughts on the Patriots. Peter, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing well.
I'd like to see us go maybe 9-8, get to the second place this year. What do you think, Paul?
I think that's a plausible scenario. Right now, I would probably say that's maybe a win or 2 more, but I absolutely can see a scenario that they stay reasonably healthy. Drake May makes a significant step forward, and you start to avoid the mistakes that cost you games against teams that were like you last year, and you win those games. 9-8, not out of the realm of possibility.
I think we'd be feeling
that sounds good to me, buddy.
Yeah, and we read off, on ESPN, had all their rankings. They have the Jets behind the Patriots, which I think is weird. I think the Jets have some talent. Now, are they that down on Justin Fields as the starting quarterback?
It was pretty successful last year in a limited sample.
So, I think he's shown sort of the ability to win games when he has some help. Now, I don't think he's, I don't think he's ever going to be a gifted passer. But, his athleticism gives him a chance to make some plays. The defense is pretty good, on paper. I do think that they have lost some of the depth that they've. Yaz 2. No, is Ortiz? How many does Ortiz have?
Ortiz with 483.
Okay, so Ortiz is 2. Yaz 3.
Yaz 3 with 452. Fourth is Jim Rice, 382. I was off.
382. Why did I think Evans had?
Dewey had 379. So it's basically
Rice had 3 more than him. I thought Evans had 3 more.
3 more.
Okay.
Sixth is Manny. Seventh is Mo Vaughn. Bobby Dorr, Jamie Foxx, and then 10th is Rafael Devers.
It's not Jamie Foxx. It's Jimmy Fox. Jamie Foxx.
Did I say Jamie Foxx?
Actor.
Did I say Jamie Foxx?
I don't know.
Go back on that.
I thought you did.
Good
I was laughing in my mind.
With 2 X's.
Yes.
Sylver Fox, Jimmy Foxx.
Kind of like Max Crosby, who the Patriots get. See how I bring it right back?
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Right back to football.
Right back to Patriots.
Speaking of which, you still have that Jabril Peppers tweet available there?
I can get this. I do.
So this was a surprising thing to some.
So this
last
was
week.
just this
Friday,
morning.
maybe it came out. The release was Friday.
Yeah, he was released, and then let's see, 8:47 a.m. So only about 10 minutes ago.
He's up on Labor
15
Day.
minutes ago. Jabril Peppers tweeted out the following: "Going on 9 years in this league, I've had 7 head coaches and 6 defensive coordinators. LOL. There is no scheme you can place me in where I won't find a way to be effective."
All right.
So I know that's been the narrative. Is they moved on from the strong safety types, the in the box physical safeties. They were kind of down on Duggar, down on Peppers. They end up releasing Peppers. And that's been the line of thought, is he doesn't fit with the scheme. I'm not telling you that Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar are Kyle Hamilton. Mm-hmm. They're not Pro Bowl, All-Pro type players. But they're talented guys.
One got a 4-year deal for a pretty good bag.
In my view, they're both better than the guys that are going to be starting the season.
Is Kyle Duggar just here because they couldn't trade him at this point? I mean, is there any way that they can integrate him and, maybe he flashes some of that effectiveness that he used to have, or is just his wheels not what they used to be, at least
so
with
that's
going
to be the big question. And I do think that they tried to move him and couldn't because of the contract.
Yeah.
I think that was the stumbling block. And I do wonder if they were looking at it as, well, we couldn't move Duggar because of the contract. Well, what about Peppers? Maybe we can move him, and they ended up releasing him. But, I think it is – I think the scheme – stuff is part of it, but I don't think it's all of it. And I think the bigger thing is what Ryan talked about in the last hour about just kind of wanting to be with your guys and, cutting ties with the previous regime and moving forward with veterans that you think are, the Harold Landry type veterans that are your guys, as opposed to other guys, captains. Be interesting. We'll probably get the captains, announced at sometime soon. Yeah. I would think like a guy like Robert Spillane, who had some experience with Vrabel in Tennessee. He looks to me like a captain type. It'd be interesting to see how that all unfolds too.
Yeah, a whole lot still to come together here before we hit the field on Sunday. I'm sure they're making preparations down in Foxborough. And
the thing real quick with Duggar and Peppers too, that I was on Friday with Tim McCone, and Tim made a point about, I wonder if maybe behind the scenes they sort of explained what their plans were with Duggar and Peppers, and maybe Duggar was a little bit more receptive to it.
Okay.
And maybe Peppers expressed some dissatisfaction with a lesser role. And maybe that's why they moved on. Again, this was total speculation by Tim, but
I think that tweet confirms the specation.
Well, that's where I was going to go with it. Yeah. I looked at that last preseason game on the Thursday night against the Giants, and Duggar, Peppers started the game and played certainly far more than anybody felt he would play. I didn't think anybody felt he would play at all. So he's out there. But then Duggar's out there, and Duggar was kind of flying around, hitting guys early in the third quarter, a couple of physical plays. Obviously, he had the pick, which was kind of a gift. It was just thrown to him. But, if you look at it from afar, you're like, okay, he can't be happy with his situation right now on the depth chart.
Right.
He can't be happy as a veteran playing this deep into a third preseason game, but he's playing. He went out there, and it's like Anthony Jennings in Minnesota. It's one thing to be out there playing. You should be dominating against the competition that you're facing, and they did. I thought Duggar was really good in that game against inferior opponents. Same with Jennings. I think he had 3 sacks in the Minnesota game. It's not ideal for veterans like that to be out there in those situations, but if you are, you should stand out, and they did. So maybe the coaching staff looked at it and said, well, he's on board. He's not happy, but I don't think he's going to cause a problem. Maybe they felt it wouldn't be like that with Peppers.
Yeah, I mean, and just to your point, that probably like that talent a little bit more than who you got starting, but so it is. The decision has been made.
Yeah.
And the moves continuing to trickle in on the Patriots as we head towards Sunday. Here we are, 617-779-0985. We'll get another check of the headlines in a few. And then it's one more hour of the Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin. We're like the mega powers of morning fill-in Labor Day radio.
Does that make me Miss Elizabeth?
So when I was a child and I played with my wrestling figures, right, I had not only the mega powers, but I would make the triple powers. So Ultimate Warrior would join them.
Oh, I can be the Ultimate Warrior.
So then
just
you have
yelling and making no sense.
The triple powers could take on any 6-man tag team match and just beat the bad guys. You're going to come up with any set of bad guys that are going to beat those 3? So that's us. You're the Warrior. I mean, I got to be the Macho Man. Does that make Paul the Hulk?
He's the Hulkster.
He's R.I.P.
Wow.
Paul.
Wow.
I'm sorry you've had a tough summer.
Well, you had a good run.
I'm honored.
He's
and
the Hulk.
I am the closest to death.
Body
here.
Andre the Giant.
So that is undeniable.
And it comes crashing down and it hurts inside. Tough summer. Theo Huxtable, Ryan Sandberg. It's like the 80s died. Ozzy.
Yeah.
Hulk. Just the 80s passing away this summer. My house getting hit by lightning. But, we're all here. It's all good. We'll be back with hour number 4 of this experience here on the Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
running around.
Yeah, like Malden. He had like a school.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he was, I believe Triple H was a student at that school, right?
Yeah.
Killer Kowalski. Yeah, the wrestling stuff, hot and heavy this morning with the wrestling on the Toucher and Hardy program.
Really the stuff that matters, I think.
Yeah, Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin, as you hear back there hanging with us this morning. More than hanging with us, basically keeping keeping the car on the road. Now, are we doing a good job of steering it? Your mileage may vary, but here we are, alas, for our fourth hour. My wife texting, wondering how can we fit my son's bike into the SUV? What do I have to do with the angle here? Yeah, okay, there we go. Got it. See, we're just taking care of personal business, all the things that you want to be listening to. It's difficult to fit a bicycle in an SUV as the child gets larger. That's why I have the truck. That's why I have the truck.
And it would be much easier with a truck. I used to
just throw it in.
I used to have a way to get it in the back of my Honda Accord.
Oh.
And it was not like a kid's bike. This was like what are the Treks? What are those bikes?
Sure, a Trek bike.
Regular size, and my kid was like 15.
You could fit a Trek in a Honda Accord.
Yeah, I did it.
It's amazing.
I had an angle.
Well, don't we all? After the lightning strike, I was driving a Toyota Corolla for a solid few weeks until I figured out which new car I was going to buy.
You didn't like that, huh?
Well, no, it was fine. I took the recycling bin, and put it sideways, and took out my kid's car seats and jammed it in sideways in the back seat, threw the trash in the trunk, and I was off to the transfer station. It worked. Spilled some recyclables out the side.
Not ideal.
Not ideal. But you make it work. A full-size bike and a Honda Accord.
Do you have to take your trash yourself every week?
I mean, I could hire somebody, but what am I made of money here? I got to afford.
Well, yes, we've already talked about that, but we have pickup. Although they're on strike.
Yeah, we're not. Yes,
I'm one of the Republic.
Yes. Well, as someone who works in the waste industry, I'm aware of this. My full-time job.
Yeah, they've been great though. My trash has gotten picked up every week.
That's good. That's good. You must,
despite the fact that they're still on strike and causing all kinds of traffic jams on Route 1.
Been nice to somebody. Throw my kids in the back.
The key to me is
go to the dump.
What do they pick up when you have the curbside? Like what is over the line for like a lot of cities and towns, and we're lucky because they generally will take a big item. And if it's like an appliance, you have to get a sticker for that. You have to
bulk
pay.
items,
yeah,
mattress pickups.
But they'll take a couch. Yep. As long as they can get it in the back of the truck, they'll just throw it in. So they're really good.
Here's a tip, folks out there with questions about what can I put into my curbside bin. www.recyclesmartma.com. Just look up Recycle Smart MA. It's a great resource. It teaches you everything you need to know. Some of my colleagues put that together. It's a good website.
So how do we get rid of electronics? How do we get rid of an old flat screen TV?
So you have a few different options there. Did you know?
Obviously not, or I wouldn't be asking.
Oh, okay. Did you know that I think does Best Buy still accept TVs?
I don't know.
Best Buy will accept 3 items. They have a list of all the items they will accept on their website. 3 items for completely free from anybody. You don't even have to be a customer. Staples accepts also 3 items, but it's more limited to tech. And otherwise, some cities and towns will just charge you whatever for a TV, $40 or whatever it is, because trash costs money.
I did try to put it out one week, and I left it.
Yeah,
which I was kind of anticipating, but they've been so good. I took a shot.
Yeah. I mean, you got to shoot your shot. Yeah. You miss 99% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Only 99%, huh? I like it.
Yeah, I know,
Michael.
Right? Wonderful quote. Where are we here in today's show?
Well off the rails.
Trash pickup, Tavares, Paul's LPs that he brought to college.
Yeah, I didn't bring any of them to college, but I got made fun of plenty.
Hey, who's laughing now?
They're probably still laughing at me. Truth be told.
Well, hey. If you can be the guy that provides joy to others through whatever way, maybe you're just the guy who people chuckle about. That's fine. A lot of my relationships are like that. It's just like, hey, you're never going to take me seriously, so I'll just try and make you laugh. Yeah, exactly. There's some actors who've made a lot of money off of that. If this was the regular show, I'm sure we would break into some sort of top 10 list of, 80s comedy foils. But
listicle?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Put it up on 985thesportshub.com. I'll drop all the links here. I'll be dropping links left and right. Mistake to go and check Twitter, as I was walking to the men's bathroom during the most recent break. Apparently we were wrong, or we must have done something wrong about North Carolina. They had the 17th best recruiting class.
Yeah, and I looked that up. There's some varying rankings. I saw 36th. I saw 13th. This one says 17th. But I don't really think we ever talked about their recruiting class.
No.
I asked how many people would want to go and play for Bill Belichick, I think was the question.
Exactly. We were talking more about the
asked.
relationship between the coach and player rather than the quality of the player.
I would also wonder how many of these guys are inflated because they're going to play for Bill Belichick and Bill Belichick wanted them. Much like we saw on a yearly basis from like 2013 on about the Patriots draft classes every year. What did they used to get for rankings on an annual basis? Their draft classes, A, maybe a B plus the year they drafted Cole Strange in the first round, but they were universally embraced.
They were
their drafts.
It was just us who were dumping on them.
One garbage class after the next.
So
down the stretch. Now the bulk of Belichick's drafting was really good.
Right.
I mean, people forget that.
Right. It was the last 5 or 6. Well,
down the
there
stretch,
were some bad ones.
It kind of started with like the Dominique Easley year.
Yeah.
Because I think they got
old Trisket knees.
They got
Jim
Dante
Murray.
Hightower and Chandler Jones.
Yep.
In the first round, I want to say in 12.
Yep.
And then it kind of took. I think Dominique Easley, Malcolm Brown. These were some of the first round picks after that.
Mm-hmm.
And
receivers
then
that we tried to make
Cole Strange
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, they went downhill.
It was so it was less. It was less
Isaiah
of
Wynn,
the last
Sony
5
Michel.
or 6 years, and more like the last 10 years. Sony Michel, he was good for you when you needed him.
Good-ish.
Hey, a lot of not everybody.
Some people would credit that line.
Not every back on a Super Bowl
Some people
winning
would credit
team
the
is
fact
Corey
that Tom
Dillon.
Brady was in that running that offense.
Oh, does that help too?
And that kind of it kind of leads the defense to not necessarily worry about the run as much. Just saying, when you go out and score like 41 and 37 in the first 2 playoff games of a run, and it's somehow credited to Sony Michel, I don't know.
Bell cow.
That is the point, though. Like, everybody's flipping out over what Travion Henderson could be. It's like, are these the same people that also were like all gung-ho on Sony Michel, who ended up being a Jag after all? Like, I mean, can we just have some, not every single guy. And look, I think Travion Henderson could be really good.
I'm going to be the guy that's going to sing the praises of Travion Henderson. There's a difference, like with athleticism, with speed, mobility. He's just a much different athlete than Sony Michel.
Like
This guy looks like a different. He looks like he's operating at a different speed from most of the other guys at training camp.
So the Athletic says Travion Henderson is the breakout player to watch, best newcomer, and then
like in the league.
In the league, best newcomer.
Well,
and then I got a Boston Globe. I got a paper
Ashton
Boston
Genty
Globe.
People don't like that.
Delivered to my house.
Did you?
It was my son's first day of school. We walked down the driveway, and there's a Boston Globe sitting in my driveway.
That you did not.
I'm not a paper subscriber.
Okay.
It was just there.
You'd be
so
a
I
little young
picked it
to
up.
do that.
I opened it.
You're a little young to subscribe to a newspaper. That's for people like me.
I enjoy it. I often go to the library and read the.
Wow.
Because again, that 4 years not going to pay for itself.
That's true.
Go read the print edition to prep for like a night show or something. I'll go over there at my lunch and read the newspaper in the library. It's great. Fantastic. While the women are cross-stitching across the way.
Nobody understands the Dewey Decimal System quite like Sean Sullivan.
There we go. I'm a fox of the Dewey Decimal System. But my point is Chad Finn in the Globe spoke of the old Curtis Martin comparison. And he wasn't comparing necessarily the style or anything like that, but he was alluding to the old Parcells quote, "Don't put him in Canton yet, fellas."
Oh, okay.
Which was made about Curtis Martin in 1995.
Oh, we should temper our expectations on the rookie running back that hasn't played yet? Wow.
Yeah, and
brilliant.
I'm not saying that Chad Finn's a hot take artist. I'm just saying
the
that's
only
what he wrote.
tempering of expectations I would have with Henderson is, and I'm not telling you this can't happen because it has happened in the past with other guys, but I know a lot of people think, how long will it be before he just supplants Ramondre Stevenson as the lead back?
That was going to be my next.
And I don't necessarily think that that's in his future. I just looking at his history, he's a little bit on the smaller side. Looking at his future, when he took a full-time role at Ohio State, he tended to break down. And that's why his last year with the Buckeyes, they brought in Quinshon Judkins as a transfer so they would split time. And I think he's one of those guys, Henderson, his production rises as his carries are sort of monitored.
So he
his
could benefit
touches.
from this relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going to ask him to get 250, 300 carries, I think there's going to be some diminishing returns. Now, again, I will say he's very similar in size and stature to Jahmyr Gibbs, who's also on the smaller side. And Gibbs had a monster season last year, 1,400 yards, plus all the electricity that he provides as a pass receiver as well. So,
but he's got Montgomery there. So
but I would say that he did kind of supplant Montgomery as the number one guy last year, and he's a little smaller. So I'm not telling you that Henderson can't do that, but I think that Henderson is best served in the pass-catching third down role. He'll get some carries out of shotgun situations. I think in the red zone, I think he can be effective on some toss sweeps. We saw a lot of that in the summer where he just outruns everybody the pylon to get those touchdowns, say inside the 10.
Yeah.
When low red zone, Sean. That's what you like to call it, the low red zone, when you're inside the 10, inside the 5.
Yeah, this is the Football Insider equivalent of a bump or a receipt. Right?
Yeah. All right, so we'll go with that. But I love everything I saw about Henderson. There was no linebackers that could keep up with him, in terms of his his route running. I think he's going to be probably the best option they have for big plays. Now, you could look at that two different ways. Really, a pass-catching running back is the best big play threat they have? But I think that's how impressive he's been so far.
They never replaced James White, which has always been a personal gripe of mine. And I thought that as these Patriots offenses tend to go, especially when Josh McDaniels is the one at OC, having a third down back that can reliably catch the ball is huge. I think that was something that worked against Mac Jones early on, was losing James White so early in his rookie year. And they've just never been able to really replicate that. I've never felt great about Ramondre Stevenson going out and running, a little flat in the backfield and going out and catching a ball. Jahmyr Gibbs is an interesting comparison. The flip I would say is, when's the last time Patriots fans have seen a burner quite like this? I think some of it does have to do with it's just so different than what fans are accustomed to.
The skill set is very similar to White, and people forget just how dynamic James White was coming out of college. He had a better college career than Henderson did at Wisconsin. Now, a lot of running backs have inflated numbers in Wisconsin because there's a lot of really good NFL caliber offensive linemen for the Badgers. But White, where I see the similarities are just really, for a running back, really exceptional route running skills, a matchup piece that you can exploit. I think he's faster than White and more explosive.
Yeah.
But White was really explosive coming out of college. People forget that because they saw sort of a safe chain mover. And the other thing that has really stood out for Henderson is his pass protection, which has been outstanding. We've seen it.
We've seen it on the practice field. That with the draft.
Yeah.
And him trucking linebackers.
And that's the key to playing time right away as a rookie third down back, is you need to know what you're doing in pass protection, and he certainly does.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to be excited about something, some shiny new object.
I'm excited to be excited about something.
Well, I
totally understand what you're saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 Patriots.
If this was, Felger and Maz wouldn't let me cross-pollinate here, but this is like with the Bruins, right? It's just like you go to the store and you buy a major appliance and Zadorov unbox him and just, we've got a washing machine, on ice out here. It's just like, this guy can't move, but he's Bruins hockey because he's big and tough. It's like, I would like a shiny, fast, sexy thing in my sports team. That's what I want.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I want. So Travion Henderson's got me a little hot under the collar here.
I have been impressed. I have been impressed with what I've seen on the practice field.
There we go. In the low red zone in particular.
Oh, everywhere, really.
Everywhere.
I have not seen, and this was the joint practices too, I have not seen any defenders be able to keep up with him. in his route running. I think McDaniels is going to be setting some stuff up for him to get linebackers in space and really take advantage of those matchups.
Travion Henderson, 2025 MVP, says The Athletic. Or don't put him in Canton just
what
yet.
did they? So he's like the breakout offensive guy, the
best
weapon?
newcomer.
Best newcomer. Like I don't know, there's a lot of guys. I don't know.
I mean, it's all context is everything. You just can't throw out facts without supporting it, right? So, all right, Paul and I are going to do our best too, and Ryan to take 2 more breaks here before. Okay, in the next 22 minutes, let's go. Did somebody say something? Okay.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Save on organic summer produce at Whole Foods Market. Get organic heirloom tomatoes for $3.99 per pound with Prime.
in the house for a Zolak and Bertrand, which I'm certain is not going to feature Zolak or Bertrand. I saw Leroy walking around. Is Leroy on?
I think your midday show will be Matt McCarthy and Ty Anderson.
Matt McCarthy, Ty Anderson. There's a combo right there. Hardcore baseball and Sports Hub Underground podcasts come together and unite as one. Bruins training camp. It's September 1st. Bruins training camp is a couple weeks off. It's wild. I don't have anything to say about that. I just think it's weird to think about here. It's Labor Day.
Well, you just took a rocket shot at Zadorov, so maybe you do have something to say about it.
I took those shots last year.
Zadorov was just trying to enjoy his holiday. He's like, what did I do?
Like, what am I catching strays? What did I do?
Washing machine.
You know, I think I said the same thing about Zdeno Chara, his first season with the Bruins when they, stunk and he was not very good. And look how that turned out. So if, things turn out the same way,
I am going to admit to being very wrong about Chara.
You were a doubter as well?
I was actually on the air across the street, which wasn't really across the street here.
Yes.
At the
old studio.
Yeah, I was on a different station at the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Across the street from the old studio.
Right.
Yeah.
They signed Savard and Chara.
Boom, boom.
It was like, I want to say it was like a
06,
Saturday afternoon. I was, still doing my fill-in stuff, Sean, just can't really get a regular gig, just filling in.
I think I was landscaping.
And I was down on the Chara part of that, and couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah.
Talk about a foundational piece.
Couldn't have predicted, Savard to get his
Well,
clock
Savard
going.
I knew would give them, offense. But Chara, I was just like, really? This is the contract for this guy? Like, all I knew him as was like, he's abnormally tall.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, couldn't have been more wrong. Just turned into an absolutely foundational piece for the Stanley Cup team.
So that's 2 weeks off. I mean, are we calling summer over here? Is it over?
Yeah, I hate when that happens. But for me, summer ends on July 23rd-ish when training camp starts.
Oh, you Patriots guys, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, it's rough. And, when they went to 3 preseason games a few years ago, they kept everything else the same. It's just longer in between the last preseason game and the start of the regular season. I've long advocated can't we just push it all back?
Yeah, why not?
So, in other words, start training camp at the beginning of August. Like that week, just mentally, would give you such a difference. And then you still get like 10 or 11 days between the end of the preseason and the start of the regular season.
Sure. I just wonder if the sports radio industry would be able to survive that extra week in July with, no football. I mean, particularly the listeners with all the Sean Sylver fill-in shows. It just really might be tough to push it back a week.
I think we gave them some radio gold today, Sean.
Was there some gold?
Sure.
I'm sure if there was, that Ryan Garvin's going to podcast.
If you think of a topic that was not touched upon today, I defy you to find it.
Hey, Robert Parrish, 72 over the weekend.
Okay, now we've discussed everything.
Okay.
We can officially check it off. Robert Parrish's birthday.
The Chief.
Everything has been talked about.
My favorite Celtic as a child.
Really?
Yeah. Larry Bird was Larry Bird. Reggie Lewis was coming on. Robert Parrish, the old slow, steady,
00
staple
from Centenary. Robert Parrish.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, let's hit some headlines because we're late for those, and we'll do something more, and then it'll be Zolak and Bertrand time. What do you think, Ryan?
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 5-2 winners yesterday against the Pirates. A Jarren Duran inside the park home run, the big difference maker in that game. Lucas Giolito the win, Aroldis Chapman the save. He the possessor of a new 2-year contract. We did. literally a music of TikTok station. So like all the songs that are big on TikTok right now are on this. I haven't listened to it. I just was wowed by the fact that it was there. It's like, how 2025 is this?
I find that that whole phenomenon interesting. Like the Take On Me,
Yeah. Official band of the 1994 Norway Olympics.
But it's it's
not lying.
No, Lillehammer.
Yeah.
That sort of explosion among like my oldest is 20 now, so I would say he was probably like in middle school. Like every single one of those kids that was like a big song.
They know that song, yeah.
And I was just like, why is this song like this? Like one random song from the like, why is this? And that's what it was. It was like a TikTok thing.
It's either TikTok or Stranger Things.
And there's a million of those.
There you go, right?
Well, Stranger Things had the other one, right?
Kate Bush.
Running up that hill.
But then also Master of Puppets. The amount of kids that had never heard a Metallica song before, that was the very first one they heard, was Master of Puppets.
Yeah, it's all changed now. I mean, it used to be like, how did you hear the previous generation's music? From your parents, right? Or maybe on an oldies radio station, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's not. The monoculture is no longer. There's just so many different places that you can go to for these things. I was saying to said friend, who we were visiting this week, and I was just like, if you asked me to name the themes or like hum the theme song to a TV show from like the past 10 years, very difficult for me to think of one off the top of my head. But ask me to name do an 80s theme song for a show. Immediate. There's 30
of them.
of them.
Don't really have them anymore. That was like a thing. Like in the 80s, they actually were, like Cheers and all those songs. They were actual songs.
They would tell you the plot of the show within the theme song, so you know what you're in store for.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do want to go where everyone knows your name.
This is true.
That's a distillation of Ryan Garvin right there. That line right there.
Sometimes you do want to go where everybody knows your name.
Not all the time.
Not all the
sometimes
time.
you do
Sometimes.
want to go.
George Wendt died this summer, right? There's another one.
Is that this summer?
I think.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Am I getting my summers mixed up?
No, that sounds right. Sounds right.
I saw him on something, post Cheers over the summer, and I was watching. I was just like, damn it.
He passed away in May.
In May, okay. So it sort of felt like summer.
Yeah.
It felt like summer. Now we have reached the time. As Ryan said this morning when we were talking at 5:30 in the morning, the summer's over when you stop hearing the crickets.
Yeah, when crickets are gone, it means summer's over.
So he's a first frost kind of guy for summer.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
we all know you're on a completely different playing field.
Yeah, I know. But if I'm going to try to,
as a football man,
I would say September can be a great month of weather.
Absolutely.
But
Looking forward to it.
It's not really summer anymore. I know it's still technically summer until the end of the month, but I think you were making a comment. It was a great weekend, weekend of weather. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of swimming in the swimming pool.
No, that's correct.
But the water gets a little cold at night. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, but hey.
My wife wanted me to close up the pool last week. And I was like, it's still August. I can't do that.
But now, maybe considering it?
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, Paul, I wish you well taking care of that empty nest. This 4 hours has just flown by.
It has.
And here we are on the precipice of Week 1 against the Raiders. I did not ask you to break down any specific matchups. I will leave that for the TV show that we will be taping later today.
Yeah.
And
for Wednesday on Philgar and Maz, I'm sure we'll get into a little of that as well.
All the places that you can find Paul Perillo, Patriots.com, Patriots Unfiltered, and I'll just keep talking. Hey, Sean Sylver, Paul Perillo, Ryan Garvin, thank you. Everybody have a great day. McCarthy and Ty up next.
Talk to you tomorrow. Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Maz from Window Nation. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus 0 down, 0 payments, 0 interest for 2 full years. So